Work by day. Obviously Fight Talk podcast by night.
All day.
Welcome along to Obviously Fight Talk episode 91. We've got to be older than your granny at this stage. And I am joined, wearing grey and looking pretty, doing it by Robert Palin.
Thanks, man.
And look, I'm wearing the new Fight Star t-shirt.
It's actually really cool, isn't it?
Booster. Do you see what it says in the back?
No.
It's very rude.
Is it? Is it actually?
It's very rude. Hold on.
He's turning around. He's turning around. If you're on audio, he's turning around to show me the back of himself. You don't always need a plan, bro. Sometimes you just need balls. Harden the fuck up. Nice. Do you wear that at shows and stuff? Sometimes.
Sometimes.
After the suit.
I was wearing it into work
Jesus.
a couple of weeks ago, and Wendy was like, "You read the back of that shirt?" No. And I was like, no. And she's like, I would suggest a jumper. So I changed. But I wore a jumper in today and I wore it underneath. And that is my shout out to Fight Star Ireland. The fighter's choice, everything you need under two roofs. You can buy this cool booster t-shirt too. To MMAmix.com, they're obviously good. With obviously Fight Talks. I miss Ben Forsyth. If I had Ben here, he would have finished it. And feelsupreme.co.uk. Receive 10% off all products by Feel Supreme website using the code AIRCODE Fight Talk at the checkout. 10%. They looked after the Chinese. They'll look after you. This week we have a fully packed and loaded show. We will be breaking down later on in the show a stunning card coming up this weekend. UFC 218. It is Max Holloway taking on that fella that lasts about as long as me in the bedroom. Jose Aldo. We'll be looking at that.
What?
I don't know. 13 seconds. I don't know.
Mission.
Yeah. Shouldn't have said that. We will then be speaking in referee's corner with Mr. Daniel Movahedi. We will have Will fucking Fleury on the show.
Vu.
Yeah, you're not listening to episode 90, you're listening to 91. Will is on again because of the controversy that went on at EFC with his second bout in the tournament. We will then be recapping UFC that went down in Shanghai. Bisping, Gastelum, crazy fights, crazy main event. Times are changing, folks. And then we'll be starting where we used to start all the time, but we're starting today with the Obviously Fight Talk Quick-Fire news. So, Rob, 2 minutes on the clock.
Ben Askren was successful in what was billed as his last fight ever. It took the one championship welterweight king just 57 seconds to dispatch Shinya Aoki last Friday night. Despite laying down his gloves, though, he confirmed that the door isn't fully closed yet. Quote, I did leave a caveat. If I get the opportunity to prove that I'm number one, I think I'm number one. I know I'm number one. I haven't got the opportunity to prove it. So if I get that opportunity, I'll take the opportunity. He also mentioned, I will say that he would like to fight GSP, interestingly, and that's one fight he would come back for. So what's your thoughts on Ben Askren retiring, the fight, and everything in between?
Funky Ben Askren looked great. I was surprised. Was I surprised when I seen Aoki diving into guard and then
I wasn't surprised.
But against,
in a way,
against Askren,
but that's probably like Shinya Aoki does that all the time. So,
but Askren, great finish, great career, but it's going to be the whole thing. Oh, he never fought in the UFC, man. And he said, he's too good of friends with Tyron Woodley to, he's never going to fight him. But the whole GSP thing coming back out of retirement is an interesting fight. And,
people talk about for a long
the
time.
UFC for a long time sort of, Dana White passing Ben Askren, he was like, he's not that type of fighter. And there was a big thing, like, remember him and Johnny Hendricks fucking hated one another back in the day. And that could have been the time, I think. I think I was reading that in an article.
Yeah, like, see when you...
MMA, I want to say MMA fighting.
Yeah, probably. When you brought up the whole point of, like, it's going to be one of them, he didn't fight in the UFC. For me, it's I didn't fight in the UFC. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them, like, I wish he fought in the UFC because he's undefeated. He's undefeated. Fedor-like, and he's beaten... Everybody's got put in front of him, and he hasn't really looked in trouble in many of those fights either. A lot of people haven't seen him, and he made a shit ton of money in ONE FC, so we can see why the UFC didn't pick him up, because he would have been on a pretty big contract, and who knows what kind of draw he would be. But the funny thing is now, I think he'd be an actually decent prospect, depending on what way the UFC would actually promote him when he comes to the UFC.
See, if he can't, this is... Like, that division is stacked as well. So where do you... You're not going to put him straight in with a title shot. So if he fights GSP... if he beats GSP, you could argue title shot. So, but like, he said he's happy to compete in wrestling on the mat. He is a coach in wrestling. Yeah. Like, he is. He's, for MMA fans who live outside the world of the UFC, he's probably the best fighter outside the UFC.
Probably,
like, undefeated. How many mixed martial arts retire undefeated.
Yeah, not many, if any. You know.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. UFC featherweight title contender Jose Aldo says that Conor McGregor must defend or vacate his lightweight title. To quote the little Brazilian, the UFC needs to do what it has to be done. You take the belt away or make him defend it. I think everybody is waiting for that. He continued. He has to defend it, has to put his belt on the line in order to become champion. He only won the title. For me, Ferguson has great possibilities of becoming a champion in the future. What do you think of Jose?
I don't disagree with him. Like, if Conor comes back and he doesn't, if Conor comes back and doesn't defend the title, like, what can you say? Like, he hasn't defended the title ever. You know, he just needs to do it. He needs to come back and defend the title. Then you have the other one is if he comes back and defends it against Nate. That's a weird one as well, but. He just needs to defend the title. Like, I completely understand where Jose Aldo's coming from. A lot of people come out and say, "Oh, look at Jose Aldo," you know, pissing him on and again. Which, you know, I get for certain things that he said, but this one, how can you disagree?
But like, for me, what's Jose Aldo talking about it? Unless he was asked about it.
I'm sure he was asked about it.
For me, it just, like, Jose Aldo, every time he speaks, he tends to talk about Conor McGregor. He came to his defence after Bellator. Now he's saying vacate or to become a champion. He is the champion. He doesn't need to become the champion. He is the champion.
I'm pretty sure it was that press conference. So.
Yeah, he means the whole paperweight the paper champion. As in, a lot of people talk about.
Some people agree with that. Yeah.
You know, let's be honest. We all want him to defend his belt.
Yeah,
and it's almost like the last thing. The jiu-jitsu guy, oh, you've never fought a wrestler, and now it's you've never defended your belt.
Yeah.
So it's one more thing that he needs to put to bed, and I do. I
hope he does, though. You know, I really hope he does. I was just thinking, when I was looking at this news story, I was thinking about it, like, remember how amazing it was to watch his rise, not as somebody who's Irish and wants to see him do well and anything like that, just watching a guy rising up through the ranks, getting to that title and win. Like, remember the whole story, him getting there and actually winning the title. And he hasn't defended one yet. Yeah. And it's kind of unfortunate because that story was so good and it's kind of soured a little bit because he hasn't defended.
Well, I don't think anybody can begrudge him. Nearly every fight he's had has always been a bigger, better fight, and he just come off like the biggest, like you know, the boxing world and the MMA world collided, and it was the biggest. You know,
for me, though, I get sick and tired of all that other stuff. I really just want to see him get back to what it used to be. You know,
I'm just glad
old
times. Have Manny Pacquiao in the news. That's all I'm glad.
Yeah, I know. UFC bantamweight champion Amanda Nunes admitted in a recent interview that she believes the UFC don't want her as champion, stating that she doesn't feel that she fits the profile of a UFC champion, and that the UFC won't promote her like they did with Rousey or Holm, and they want blonde, cute little girls who fight and take pictures. That was a quote.
Dye your hair blonde. That's one. That's one of them boxes ticked.
Did you see her Instagram post or Twitter post? It was just her with like a blonde wig, like photoshopped onto her head.
You can argue that point, be it male division or female division. Like, you look at the push they putting behind like Sage Northcutt, or they like good looking blonde, people cute. Being their champions. Like, it sells shit.
Yeah.
Like, you look at back in the early days of not even the early days.
Chuck Liddell.
But no, like, remember Roger, what's his name, got put on the front of
Roger Huerta?
Yeah, but it was that Sports Illustrated or something.
Yeah,
like that,
Sports Illustrated, yeah.
And that was because he had the look, you know.
Yeah, of course.
He was tan, he had tattoos, the women go, oh, he's so sexy. So it's like, sex sells, and it doesn't matter if you've got whatever between your legs, you know what I mean? It does. Like, I can get our point, because when you look at look the push they give Paige Van Zandt, and even the push like the Karate Hottie Waters, they do, you know what I mean? Like, but look, that's the industry. Sex sells, and it's the same. Like, Conor McGregor has done naked stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, so
it's not fair. It's not fair.
Misha Tate's not blonde.
Yeah. It's not fair, but you can see, like, you understand where she's coming from. You understand where the UFC, like, some people are just more promotable. It's just the way it is. It's unfortunate. I think that you could promote her better. I think you could promote a lot of people better. She's the first gay champion in the UFC. Yeah. Promote that. Put her out there. She's the first. Like, promote that as much as you can.
But as well,
and that's a different audience, you know.
As well, a big thing we talked about with champions as well is the lack of English as well. As
well, she's learning English. But we also have to say as well, the UFC put her on some huge cards. So like, it's not like they've been hiding her away, putting her onto little small Fox cards.
She's pulled the plug on the card for them a couple of times, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah. Tai Hung Bang was sentenced to 10 months by Seoul Central District Court.
I love the way you got this one.
For taking money to throw a fight against Leo Kuntz at UFC Fight Night 79 in Seoul back in November of 2015. Bang 34 reportedly agreed to lose the first 2 rounds of the fight to Kuntz, but the fighter apparently changed his mind and won by split decision. Hooray! His change of heart reportedly came due to warning from UFC officials about fixing after the betting lines on the fight changed drastically leading up to the event. So basically, fight fixing in the UFC, Rob, what do you think of
that? What do you say about that? It's a weird one, isn't it? You don't really hear about it very much, apart from weird conspiracy theorists on
Look,
YouTube.
it was going to happen, and
yeah,
this thing was, wasn't it? But like,
the mad thing though is he didn't do it.
Well, that's like, because like
they told him to stop.
It was like, it was probably like, you know, the huge underdog, and then all of a sudden all the money came and went,
and they're like, here,
you're like fucking 1 to 10 to win here.
What
happened? The fuck happened here? So, you know,
it's hard to describe.
They gave them a sum of money. He took, I think it was like something like 92,000, but he gave it back because he decided to change his mind.
Yeah, he decided,
and won by split decision.
It's a weird one.
Look, we're laughing, we're joking about it, but it's something that
I'm sure it happens a lot. I'm sure, like, not a lot, but I'm sure it happens.
Maybe not on the big circuits, but like
on the lower circuits.
There's, for example, a promotion that I have worked for, Infusion Live. Go check that shit out. Go and smell a rat with Infusion Live.
Is that the camera?
In Infusion Live, fixing fights since early dawns. Now, Infusion Live, check it out. Your man gets a count and he gets knocked down, and 44 seconds go before he gets back to his feet. Yep. Then your man gets knocked down to the ground and makes eye contact with the cameraman while pretending to be knocked out. It's a fix. They changed it to a no context. 9 months. No, that was a wrong comment. But basically, someone said it on Reddit. They're fixing fights. It's you can't deny it. You're looking at it. I don't give a fuck. I worked with Infusion. I'll never work with them again. Yeah. They're a shower of fuckers, and this comes down on them. Karma is a bitch. He's being caught cheating, and like, fuck me, man.
Yeah. So back on this one, suspended for 10 months. I think the punishment probably fits the crime. Like, you're fixing fights, you're cheating the audience, you're cheating people out of their money if they bet.
Did he get prison time? Did he?
10 months, it says. You read it.
Oh, read it. Yeah. Oh, so he was fixing fights, and now his lunch will be fixed for him.
Very nice.
By the nice staff in the canteen of the Fine Soul Prison. It's up to you.
Last piece of news: Alexander Gustafsson is on the mend. The UFC light heavyweight contender on Monday shared an update regarding his health on Instagram, stating that he had shoulder surgery. That's hard to say, and is now rehabbing. Alexander
shoulder
Gustafsson.
Surgery.
To be honest, I'm not sure about you, but I didn't even know he was injured.
Didn't know he was injured.
So really didn't know he was
good
injured.
news that he's recovering.
Yeah.
Didn't know he was injured. That was bad news. But then on the good news, he's on the mend.
Yeah, because a lot of people were talking about it. I know we said it as well last week. Like,
well, let's be honest. There's a big rumour of Volkan Ozdemir that with he's due to fight DC, and they were saying with what happened, self-defense by Alcan. Apparently, some bloke grabbed his mot's boob.
Yeah,
they're getting knocked out by anyone who does that. In fairness, that's just idiot move. But everyone's saying, Gustafsson, because Jimmy Manuel was like, I'll take the fight, and then withdrew. It was like, but you know, Gus sort of deserves it. Ben Forsyth broke that news. Yeah. But so I was surprised. I didn't realise he was injured. Hopefully, speedy recovery. I really like Gustafsson. I think he's a fantastic fighter.
Yeah.
And,
I also think the division needs him. There's not many guys in that division. He's one of the top guys there. I think the division really needs him to come back. Again, didn't know he was injured. Hopefully it's a speedy recovery. Hopefully it's not something that really affects him down the line. Hopefully the surgery was a complete success. And he's on the mend.
But it's probably because he shared it, did he, on Instagram? So it's not like it's probably not secret. He probably fighters during camp or after camps will have these surgeries or these operations or whatever. A bit of rehab on an old injury, make him sharper for the next fight. So it's a speedy recovery to the Mauler.
Pretty much it.
Alex Gustafsson.
That was the news.
The main thing at the news is to remember is Infusion got what came to them. But all joking aside, I know because Infusion screwed me over. It's a long story, but for a very long story. The only thing is, I hope
you tell that story.
No, I hope the people that were fixing the fights weren't fixing it for exposure. because that's how Infusion want to pay, is with exposure. So if you're fixing a fight, you normally will get money. The way Bang did, 92 grand. Infusion will pay with exposure. So in fairness, he's getting plenty of exposure. It's not good exposure. It's number one, showing the referee to be in on the job. It's number two,
you're exposing a lot of information.
Yeah, you're exposing the fighter to. He's never going to get an acting career in his life. But Infusion Live, allegedly, we must say allegedly after all this, allegedly Infusion Live have got what they deserve. Don't fuck Noel over in Thailand. Coming back to haunt you.
Before we move away from the news, I just seen something on Reddit, and I can't connect to Twitter, so I'm not sure the context of it, but it was from Danny Segura from MMA Fighting. Rory McDonald may feature as an alternate during Bellator's Heavyweight Grand Prix.
Bellator's Openweight Grand Prix.
Openweight, yeah. No, they have to weigh in at heavyweight.
They have to weigh in 206.
Exactly, heavyweight. That's cool.
Let's Rory move on. Walk around that?
Don't know.
Imagine Rory McDonald fighting Frank Mir. The fuck does that look like?
I believe it's pronounced Mur.
Frank Mir.
Yeah. Swiftly moving on.
Fucking Fusion. Let's recap, Rob. Let's look back at a really
lackluster on paper.
We proper looked at this and we're like, let's be honest, this is terrible. But
I was excited for some guys.
Yeah, main event though. Let's talk about the main event.
Yeah, it's a big one. Tough. Michael Bisping. I was thinking about this when I was watching the fight and it finished. Michael Bisping, man, the last 3 weeks of his life and the last 3 weeks of the middleweight division's life, if you want to say, have just been crazy. It's just been, everything's been turned onto its head. A couple of weeks ago, you had Michael Bisping as the champion. Yeah. Kelvin Gastelum was there. You had GSP possibly coming back. And now you have GSP as a champion, GSP injured, Michael Bisping on a 2-fight losing streak, Kelvin Gastelum now a contender.
Calling out Whittaker.
Only
guy calling out Whittaker.
Now he's a contender. Man, the middleweight division looks completely different 3 weeks down the road, which is crazy. And Michael Bisping, 2 losses now in a row.
Takes the glimmer off his fight.
It really does. And the next one's probably going to be his last one in Manchester. He's not going in with momentum at all. Who are you going to match him with? It's
too quick for turnaround, man.
Yeah, I agree.
The UFC have a lot to answer for there. Yeah. Like, Bisping was rocked against GSP. GSP landed some big shots.
We spoke about this.
Yeah, he did. He landed some big shots. He was hurt.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to take... The shot Gastelum landed on him was... I know when your Rob's giving me a look, I need to lean into the mic more. What I loved about it, right, Bisping overextended. He overreached.
Yeah.
But Gastelum's movement, he leaned back from the hips, landed the right, and then off the centre line. So Bisping missed with the big right, and then boom, came back with
and
the
his
left.
hand speed is.
So it was lovely technique, but it was quite fundamental technique, and it was taking advantage of Michael Bisping overextending. But there's no question in the finish, and the shots I think that landed were they weren't unnecessary, but he has to finish until the fight stopped. But from Bisping looking at him the UFC have a lot. I honestly think there's no way that, and I'm obviously not going to be the first person to say this, there's no way that fight would have gone ahead if it was in Vegas.
I don't think so.
In New York, they would have gone. What? A couple of weeks ago, this dude was lit up a hope.
It's.
Here's a point someone said.
Yeah,
I should have said this Brendan Dorman actually to give him a little. Does it take a bit of the shine off what GSP done that Kelvin Gastelum goes and does that to Bisping?
Not for me. Not for me. I know where you're coming from, but not for me. I always think that was a bad matchup for Michael Bisping. I said it last week. I think that's a tough matchup. I think a lot of things that Kelvin Gastelum does well, GSP does well. They're both kind of a similar weight. They're both coming up. And I think Kelvin Gastelum's hand speed, which was going to always give Michael Bisping fits, his hand speed is ridiculous at that weight. So I think it was always going to be a bad matchup, and I probably would have picked Kelvin Gastelum if they fought anyway. So I think styles make fights in a lot of situations, and I don't think it takes any shine off what GSP done. It's still amazing what he done coming back.
I can't remember who said it on Twitter, so I can't remember who it was, and they said it's only now when you sort of look at Bisping and look at his last couple of fights, he's been dropped with the left. I wonder how affected his eye is seeing that.
Oh, definitely. 100% affected. Yeah, definitely affected.
And the shots
maybe
that
80% affected.
The shots that you don't see coming are the ones that turn off the lights.
Yeah.
But a great performance by Gastelum, and I think he said before the fight, he did say, because I read it, he said that Anderson Silva, this is a bigger fight for Anderson Silva, and it proved. Like, he just beat, like as you said, like 3 weeks ago, Michael Bisping was the middleweight champion. Yeah, he just beat the last middleweight champion.
He's touring that division now. You know, I think we still have to have questions about Kelvin Gastelum's place in that division, because when he fought Chris Weidman, you could see he was definitely undersized. Definitely undersized, especially on the ground. When I hit the floor, Weidman was, you know, he manhandled him. So if he fights someone like Weidman again, I think he could have problems. But, you know, great win for him. Absolutely great win for him.
Just to run down the card quickly and briefly here on, Jing Liang Li got the job done in round 1. The Chinese really represented very well here in this card, taking a KO/TKO of Zach Otto. Guan Wang, delighted, beat Alex Caceres and
look good.
Look, I'm going to do something. I'm going to say something. Got to give credit to Alex Caceres for making it through the 3 rounds. So end of that first round, it looked like it was done. Yeah, but stayed in there, got it done. Big surprise of the night was Alex Garcia against Muslim
great performance.
Salikov.
One of the better performances of his career, I thought. Alex Garcia. Sometimes he's had trouble in these type of fights. You know, guys who are kind of unorthodox and hard to deal with. But great performance by Alex Garcia.
But for me, the best standout, apart from Kelvin Gastelum, the standout performance for me, because it was just pure beauty from start to finish, was Zabib Mega Sharapov. Oh my god, said that name deadly as well.
He did actually.
Proper been practicing. Mega Sharapov,
phenomenal.
Unbelievable against Simon Moraes.
Anaconda.
Oh, beautiful. And then the big superstar took the fight on a couple of weeks' notice. He's either 18 or he's either 18, 19, 22 or 23. Nobody knows. Yadong Song taking on the first ever Indian signed UFC fighter in Kandar. And Song looked amazing with the front chop. It was like Ben
Rothwell.
Yeah, it was like a go choke.
10-finger choker.
Beautiful. But the card delivered, man. I woke up, you know the way you wake up in the morning because you need a wee, and I had a notification on my phone to say,
sit down, wee.
The UFC prelims are starting, and I was like, fucking great stuff.
So you stand the jacks.
I snap.
Sit down,
wee. Watch the first fight, having a sit down wee, and then I went in, put the kettle on, had a brew, had a coffee, nice coffee, a Maxwell House toffee latte, delicious.
I don't approve.
Recommend them, delicious.
Instant coffee.
You know, one of them you pour the sachets in and you mix it and it goes frothy. No, honestly, it was delicious. As coffee goes, instant coffee was an excellent. I'd give it a good solid 7.5 out of 10 for an instant coffee. Now, if you got this coffee in a coffee shop, you give it a 6.
A 6
in a coffee like in a fancy coffee shop.
4.
No, I'm telling you, it was good.
No.
So then I was obviously going down to Celtic Gladiator on Saturday, and Bisping walked into the cage at about 1:10. I was getting collected at 1:30.
Sounds like Bisping was at Celtic Gladiator.
It was great stuff. Stuff. So I got to see the whole card. It was great stuff. Mrs. was in bed asleep. Wasn't giving out to me for watching fights. It was a win-win.
Yeah.
Win-win. Let's move it on, Rob, and let's get somebody who was involved and has released footage of their fight. One of the hardest videos. Number one, I know the guy.
Yeah.
So it's hard to watch in that way.
He was here last week.
He was on the show last week. Will Fleury. On the show last week with Ben Forsyth. And Will had said, you know, shit goes down. And we were thinking, oh, fuck, does he win by crazy knockout? Or, you know, what happens here? Yeah. And the footage was released, and as I said, we know Will, so it's hard to watch when you know the guy. But it's also hard to watch when you know what Will Fleury puts into this sport of mixed martial arts and the sacrifices he makes. He takes, on count, about 14, 15, possibly 16 illegal elbows to the back of the head. And Will is good enough to come on to speak to us here again this week on, obviously, Fight Talk. So welcome back to the show, Will fucking Fleury. So welcome back to, obviously, Fight Talk, and we are now joined by a man. I'm sure if you've been on Facebook today or yesterday, you will have seen this footage. He was on the show last week in studio. We're joined by Will fucking Fleury. Will, You did promise us madness went down at EFC, and you could certainly say madness went down at EFC. If you haven't seen the video, just to tell you briefly, Will was basically going in for a takedown and I counted 14 or 15 illegal elbows to the back of the head. So Will, we spoke about it. You gave us that shit's going to go down. Just talk us through what happened. Like when you were going in for the takedown, talk us through the fight from that moment.
Well, that's only about 2 minutes into the actual fight, so that's the middle of the first round. So the fight started, we were kind of trading on the feet, barely, like as in there was hardly much landed. I think I threw an overhand right and he went for a straight right himself, and I took him down off of that. He kind of tried to get near the cage, so I had him up against the cage, kept pulling his hips out. He eventually kind of, like he was trying to use his backhand to prop himself up, couldn't, kind of crippled or crunched him over, like, and then mounted him. Had him mounted for about 30 or 40 seconds. Landed a few shots from mount, but nothing like majorly damaging. Then he started trying to like push up underneath my armpit. I landed like an elbow from the top as he was trying to push me up. That cut the top of his head. Then like I ended up going for like an armbar off of that and missed the armbar and ended up underneath them. Then I landed like 2 more big elbows while he was on top of me. And then like he was trying to throw a few shots, but I kind of had his arms held and he was really tired already at that stage. And basically from there he tried like another elbow and I kicked his hip away and drove, like as I kicked his hip away I did like a get up and drove back into him, and that's where the clip you've seen there happened. So it's only like 2.5 minutes into the fight, like and right, so basically the whole thing kind of went like nobody knew what the hell was happening. I got pulled back over in my corner. I didn't realise I'd been elbowed in the back of the head. I actually thought at the time when it was happening that I was like, shit, I'm not. There we go. I thought when it was happening that I had just lifted him into the air. No, so I was like slightly out of it at that stage. So like when he pulled me up and moved me over, I thought he was stopping me because I was like attempting an illegal takedown or something. So I got pushed back over to my corner, walked over and was like, why has he stopped it up there? And I saw him getting a bollocking over in the other corner. Now it wasn't like the fight was over at all at that stage, and I was probably the more eager guy to continue. So I walked like I took a few seconds over there, walked back into the middle of the cage and was like waving him into it, being like, right, come on, let's go, because I could see he was exhausted still. And my corner were like, no, take your 5 minutes. At that stage then there was like a cut on the back of my head, like, and a good bit of blood had started coming out of that. So one of the cut men got let in to see that, and when the cut men came in they let the doctor in as well. So he kind of came over just like sneakily interviewing me basically, and he was like, where are you, what date is it, couple of just the usual questions, like, and I felt fine then, like I was totally cognizant, totally aware. So basically answered all of those, no problem. And then it was about to restart, or something was happening, and I was like, hold on, put me back in there.
You wanted to be put back in the position where the fight was broke, yeah.
And basically from there, the ref copped something was up, and he was like, why do you want to be put back in there? I was like, because I was just about to take him down, I had him in the air, like. And he like walks over to the other lad and is like, do a balance test on him there. And then your man, the doctor, kind of got me to stand on one leg and touch my heel and touch my toe and touch my heel. And I don't know, apparently I failed that. Yeah, look, I'd say I was a little bit wavy, but yeah, look, the fact like it shouldn't have even gotten to that point. It should have been fucking called straight away.
Okay, so Will, when that happens, then the referee, obviously the doctor after the balance test says the fight can't go on. Was there confusion then? Was there a delay in what was going to happen? Because as I said, we counted 14. Oh yeah, 15.
I thought it was like, I thought we were just going to fight again. To be honest, and I was the one who wanted to fight again. He didn't, and we all knew how that fight was going to go. That was the thing. But kind of about 5 or 6 hours later, like we both went to hospital in the same ambulance, like, and we were chatting away to each other, and we'd actually roomed in the same room. It's a mad story, like the whole thing. And I basically copped. I was like, they're not going to have time to let us fight again and still finish the show because they've booked all our flights back already. I was like, so they're going to put one of us out. And you see, he had fucking lied to me as well. That was the thing. He had said, I think I caught you like twice around the side of the head.
Wow.
And like maybe twice in the back of the head, but like they kind of slipped on from the back. He was like, I think it was the two that like I hit with the other elbow. And I hadn't, like, literally at this stage, I was like, I just need to see the thing. Because part of me was like, shit, maybe he caught me. Maybe he caught me lovely on the side of the head. But something in the back of my head was like, in the back of my head.
Fucking 14 elbows.
But something was telling me, like, where I was there, I shouldn't have been able to get hit in the side of the head. Because obviously I do that positional load in training. And if you give me your hips, like, or if you try and elbow the other side of my head, you're giving me your hips.
Yeah.
So I was a bit like, geez, he must be very flexible to have landed a decent elbow from that position. But I hadn't a clue. I hadn't seen any of the footage yet. I was in that kind of like, anything could have happened here state. And I stayed that way for the next day and a half. Like, I didn't see the footage until late the next day. The morning after the fight, they call us all down. And they bring us out and they have this big house meeting. And I can fucking tell straight away, just from the faces on all of them and the way they have the cameras set up and everything else, I was like, right, this is going to be a shit show and they're going to get, like, one of us is going out now. Because they hadn't really, like, nothing had been explained to us afterwards at all. We went home that night. We got home at about 2:30 in the morning because we got taken out to, like, the fights were in Pretoria and the house was in Joburg. And we got taken to some hospital that was the other side of Pretoria, so it took us ages to get sorted and everything. Anyway, we go back down, fucking meeting, all this, and Graham's like, Will, you're out of the competition. And straight away, I'm just like, bullshit. You're rewarding this lad for fucking cheating then, basically. And I hadn't even seen the footage at this stage, but I could tell, just from their fucking body language, that it was like, nah, this is an absolute horseshit decision, and you're trying to get me out of here as quickly as possible and cover yourselves as quickly as possible, like. And it didn't make sense either, because it was like, here, look, I'm your fucking draw, you twats. I'm the only lad who has a chance of fucking beating the champion here. I'm the only lad who'll actually give a decent title fight. I'm clearly the best fighter in the house. They all fucking knew that, like. So basically, I had a massive argument with him. Like, I lost my shit pretty much. I didn't keep it together at all. Fucking, I imagine, I haven't even seen that episode of the show yet, but I imagine all of that's going to be edited out. They've just aired the episode where myself and Shaw fought, but they kind of cut it just after the fight. So then me and him had a huge argument. They were all going off to Durban that week, and pretty much what I get the impression would have happened was that I would have been basically edited out of the show, or that I would have been made to look like kind of this character who came on and was like pretty shit, and they could just show the elbows from a weird angle and like kind of brush it under the carpet as much as possible. Then I got on real well with the director of the show. He was a sound lad, and I went up to him and kind of had a bit of a chat with him about like how they were going to portray that footage and basically get me to react to the footage, and how that'd be good content to have me like watching the footage.
So you still hadn't seen the footage at this stage. They hadn't shown you this, and they weren't willing to. You were trying to almost twist their arm into showing you the footage. Yeah,
basically, yeah. I wasn't, because it was a different crowd that made the show. They were called SIC Entertainment, and EFC were obviously the ones funding that, but they were separate companies. So the EFC boys, I'd imagine, would put pressure on them to kind of be like, look, obviously don't fuck us over in any of this. But your man, the director, was kind of willing to let me see it anyway. So he set 2 camera guys up, and it was just on a laptop, and they had me in my room watching it with the camera guys on the other side of the room. So while that was going on, we were allowed phones just to text family or whatever, and I didn't react. Like, the thing was playing in front of me, but it was only uploading when they kind of started setting up all the equipment and stuff. So I basically pretended that it wasn't fucking going at all, and just was like texting mother on the phone. And while that was going on, I was recording that. So that's where I got that clip that I put up today. And And as soon as I got it, I sent it to John because I'd been in constant contact with John about the whole thing. And then I sent it to your man Graham as well, who's like their Dana White basically.
Yeah.
And when I sent it to John, he was like, Jesus Christ, this is absolutely ridiculous. That's a blatant DQ.
Yeah.
And then when I sent it to Graham, he was like, we could sue you for having that footage. And I was like, yeah, go on.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you going to get? Like,
Yeah.
So it became a bit of a standoff then for a few days. And it was all a bit mental. And there was messages going back and forth. And I thought, like, for a good while, like I was there for about 3 days thinking, like, sure, they're just going to edit me out of the show. But at least I have this footage and I'm going to go against them. Yeah. Then they came back, like, it was another lad. And I'll go into the details another time. But, like, basically they were like, look, we'll get you something out of this. Like, you know, we know that you're our guy. Like, and they wanted to kind of, they were saying, like, oh, we'll get you to fight a title contender and then you'll get the title shot after all this. Because that's what, like, I was like, if you're not putting me back in the competition, because my first thing was, like, put me back in. I'm grand. I want to. The same day all this shit happened, we went out to a mattress factory and we did this challenge of, like, holding a mattress over your head for as long as you could. And it was an individual challenge. It was the only individual challenge we did. And all 10 of us, like, or 11 of us, hold the mattress over our head for as long as we could. I beat everyone else by like a minute and a half, and I actually fucking left the thing down in the end. And I was there like screaming, "Will fucking Fleury, all this shit." And they're there telling me I'm concussed and that I'm not okay to compete. And I was like, I'd fucking beat any one of these lads right now, like, not a bother. So yeah, then it became a thing of like, oh yeah, we're gonna get you on a good contract and get you out here on good money, and we'll have you fight a title contender. So I played along with that basically, and the last 2 weeks of the show was just waiting for the fights to play themselves out. It's real frustrating being there as well, because you're like, you're watching these fights and you're like, here. And even like, I'm helping, like, I don't know how much of what goes on in the show I can reveal, and even I think it's going to be broadcast over here eventually, so it's kind of awkward. I don't want to give away all the details of who's in the final or whatever, but you know, you're there helping lads prepare for the final, and you're like showing them stuff. You're teaching them basic shit and trying not to whoop their ass too bad, so they're like a little bit more confident going into that fight. And at the same time, you're like, this lad's going to get the contract that I should have been on. This lad's going to get that title fight, and I'm here having to fucking not go hard on him, like, in training sessions. It's ridiculous, like.
And come here, one big thing, right? When you were in the, I know you said limousine, when you were in the ambulance going to the hospital, you and Shaw, Dean, who was the other fighter, he was saying, I might have caught you with 1 or 2. After you seen the footage, what'd you say to Shaw?
Yeah, so I'm not sure what they're going to show in the next episode, but they have footage of me absolutely losing my shit with him. Because he'd lied to me, and that was the thing. And he'd actually, right, that morning, right before the meeting, there was a guy who used to go around with like slow-mo cameras and film action footage and stuff while you were training, and he'd called Shaw over because he just knew Shaw a little bit better. He'd been working with their team a good bit more, and he was like, oh, I have the clip of the elbows. So this would have been in slow-mo. Now I still haven't seen the footage he's seen, but he came over to me after that and was like, oh yeah, 1 or 2 kind of clipped the back of the head, but they weren't too bad. And this was like right before the whole announcement thing happened of like them kicking me out of the show. So I was kind of questioning, like, geez, maybe it was to the side of the head. And when I actually saw the real footage, but I was questioning it, but I still flipped the fuck out anyway, because I knew there was like a massive element of controversy regardless. And I knew like I could feel where all the cuts and lumps were, and they're all like right back here, so you can see the actual elbows, like, you know.
What were you told about the decision? Because it was obviously ruled a no contest. What were you told? Why was it not a DQ? Why were you told it wasn't a DQ?
Because I was moving my head.
Wow.
Even regardless, if I'd been moving my head, it still should be a DQ.
But even you were moving. You're moving your head, Will, right? And that's right.
No, but like, look at the fucking footage. I'm not moving my head at all. My head is planted into the cage. I have my head there because that's the one area where, like, if you're going to come to the opposite side and elbow the other ear, you're going to have to give me your hips to do it.
But the other part about it is, well, just for argument's sake, they're saying you play devil's advocate and say, all right, I was moving my head. You weren't, but let's say you were, just for their argument's sake. When the referee comes in with the slowest stoppage I've ever seen, he comes in with his hands as slow and sort of go, no, Stop elbowing him.
And then another one.
Shaw lands about 4 elbows maybe when the referee actually, like, I'm looking at, you have it playing here for me, and you've just dropped now and he's landing, and the referee comes in, slowest ever, by the way, Slow Hands his name should be, still happening. So the referee comes in now, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4.
What's weird is he doesn't even get angry that he keeps elbowing him.
There's 4 elbows, and as he is arched up to land the 4th elbow, the referee takes his hands away to say time.
Yeah.
So he lands 4 clean elbows when the referee has touched them on you. So that in itself.
And then, like, he literally, like, he doesn't get angry with the fact that he's landed a lot of elbows even afterwards. He kind of just goes, yeah, time, no problem, and then just, like, marches him over. And, like, I never got to hear any of the audio on the bollocking that he got, but it looked fairly gentle. It looked, and, like, he was questioning, sheer and utter fucking incompetence, the whole thing, like that how this whole situation has been dealt with. And here's the thing, doesn't affect any of them boys at all. They're all grand, they go home, no problem for any of them. I get fucking 15 elbows in the back of the head, I get fucked out of a contract, you know, I get fucked out of a title shot as well.
Was that the main referee for the whole show? Did he continue to referee the rest of the show, do you know?
He was refereeing 5 days later down in Durban, as far as I know.
Wow.
I didn't see him. I'm not sure. I need to check if he was involved in any of the other fights.
Yeah.
He had been previous to that anyway, and they're using him still, and, you know, I don't know whose actual responsibility is, if it's SAMMA or whoever, what referees they choose to use, but...
To quote John Cabinet on your Instagram, he says, "This is the worst refereeing I've seen in 20 years. He should not be allowed to watch MMA, never mind work in a cage."
Look, here's my thing. That lad's incompetent, and that's obvious, okay?
Yeah.
Anyone who knows anything about MMA can see that. It was a terrible decision. Like, it should have been stopped far quicker than it was. And it should have been, you know, called a DQ straight away. What pisses me off more, like, he's just one incompetent individual. The whole organisation went in behind him, and I was treated like a bold child after all this. I was, like, treated basically like a child who'd done something wrong. Because I, like, straight away I was like, regardless of what happened, you're dealing with this arseways. And they were like, no, but Will, you've come down here, you're trying to be a contentious character, you know, you've come in with this, like, brash attitude, thinking you're better than everybody else. I was like, fuck ye, you fucking assholes, like. So I'm so happy I have that footage, and I'm so like, look, I'm still unbelievably pissed off over everything that's happened, but at least now people can see the reality. They can't fuck with that reality, if you know what I mean. And that's something, I suppose.
The thing is,
but look, like, I don't seem as angry as I have been here. This whole thing affects my life massively.
Of course.
Like, that's the thing, Will, is like, they're saying, oh, we'll give you a title contender to then fight the champion. Like, does this still leave a bad taste in your mouth?
When I got home, there was nothing signed, and they offered me the contract that the loser would have went on. As in, if I had lost the first round of the show, they gave me, like, the equivalent of, like, the worst contract that could have possibly been put on. Before I went in, I signed 2 different contracts, and one was the winner's contract, which was for 100,000 rand for the fights and 50,000 rand for winning the like 100 to show and 50 to win, so 150 overall, which is equivalent to like €9,000, which is some legit money, and you could, you know, fight 3-4 times a year and be making a proper living out of the sport. And that was a 5-fight contract. The other contract was like, if you lost in the first round of the show, and it was kind of tiered, so it was like 30-10 if you'd lost in the first round of the show, 40-20 or whatever if you'd lost in the second round of the show. I forget the exact numbers, but basically it was like stepping up from where you were, like, depending on how you did and depending on how much they wanted you, it was, you know, steps up from that. And they offered me 30-10 to fight a lad down there afterwards. And I was like, are you fucking serious? This would have been the same money as if I'd gone in the first round and lost.
What do you think happens next?
There was some robust discussions after that fucking contracts was sent in. I don't know what happens next. Like, I think they're going to see that they're missing out on a massive opportunity if they don't take me. And if they don't offer me some decent fucking money, basically.
Would the whole experience sour you from actually signing with them?
Yeah. Look, it's still probably I've just done a reality show with them.
Yeah.
And we have this huge opportunity because there's a platform there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, the trust is broken.
Yeah.
The trust has been broken twice, like. And, you know, anything they tell me from now on, you're never going to believe, really.
Yeah, a grain of salt.
Yeah. But I don't exactly have many other good offers coming my way.
Yeah.
Which is fucking... look...
Yeah,
we all know about the other shit.
This is it, Will. I've said it to you. I don't know how promotions haven't gotten the Will fucking Fleury fucking train yet, to be perfectly honest with you. I just don't understand.
I don't know
it.
either, man. I don't know what this fucking sport wants from somebody.
Yeah, and when you got this big breakdown,
talk a bit of shit, be a character.
When you win in
emphatic fashion.
Yeah.
When you got this concert, when you got this offer, I was there going, I'm fucking delighted for Will. You know what I mean? EFC, this is going to be a big opportunity to put a big statement out. And then you said to me, shit's going to go down next week. I'm like, oh, what the fuck happened? You know what I mean? And then you see this and go, fuck me. Like, it's just, we jokingly say, and it's, I know it's not a joke, but we jokingly said, you know, people are always pulling out against you, and we made it, you know, things like that. But it's got to the stage for you where you can just see the frustration with you. And fuck, man, there has to be a silver lining in here. If you believe in karma, if you believe in religion or whatever, shit happens for a reason. And surely... something's going to happen for Will Fleury, man, because you know, like you said, you were in there to win it, and I've no doubt I would have been putting money on you to win it, you know. So frustration is like sick.
But here, look, this is the thing, right? Anybody who knows the crack knows now. This is a legit product. There's fucking it's going to be very difficult to get lads to fight me now. But literally, that is like the silver lining will be the getting these fights. The fact that hopefully when I do get these fights, we'll have some bit of a profile built from it already because of all of this shit happening. I feel like I could have made a career out of this 2 years ago if people didn't fucking pull out or didn't, you know. But they won't fucking stop me. Like, the thing is, enough shit has happened that if I was going to stop, I'd have fucking stopped long ago. If I was going to get disheartened by any of this shit, I'd like, look, there have been incredibly disheartening moments. There have been times where I've gone and fucking waited up and been like, fuck, Will, is this really what you want to be doing with your life? Like, and like, look at what keeps happening. This thing isn't a fucking sport. That's the thing. We like to think it's like some fair fucking, you know, that's something like, oh, you've been fucked, you deserve something. You get nothing. You get fucked, you go home. Like, nothing happens. No good comes of it. Like, and you know, you sit here like, what are you going to do? Just complain? Get on a fucking podcast and go, oh yeah, bad shit happened again. Oh, fuck it, man. All I want is the opportunity to whoop some bastard's ass. Like, and I can do that. And I've been fucking kept training. I've kept like preparing to whoop some lad's ass. So just give me the opportunity, give me the platform. I'll go down and whoop some cunt. Like,
and what's the story, Will, with the contract now? Are you tied to them for a while, or let's say whatever, any promotion comes along, whoever, and says,
regardless
Will Fleury,
of
we've got a
whether
fight.
or not I'm in that contract, it's an open contract anyway.
Yeah.
Is the way I understand it. So like their champion Dricus du Plessis has just signed to fight for KSW.
Yeah.
And Yannick Movahedi fought on Bama when he was their champion. So they don't sign exclusive contracts regardless.
Okay.
So I'm open. I'm open to offers. So
basically what we're saying, ACB, Cage Warriors, Bama, Bellator, KSW, get your shit together. EFC, get your shit together and get this man on a fucking card.
Boom.
That's simple. Will, listen, we really appreciate you coming on
2 weeks.
Start to chat to us with this. You're the first 2 weeker we've ever had. I
think so, yeah.
You're the first repeat
breaking records left, right, and centre, lads.
We took so long to get you on that we said we'll do it twice.
Grand.
Listen, you're a gent.
Yeah. All right, best of luck, lads.
Well
Cheers.
done. Will, fucking Fleury. So welcome back to OFT Fight Talk, and we are now in referee's corner with Mr. Daniel Movahedi, the gentleman. There's no prizes for guessing. We were speaking with Will Fleury earlier, so we wanted Dan on to just shed some light and sort of talk about this incident, as Coach John Kavanagh called it, the worst refereeing decision he's seen in 20 years. So Rob, just if you hit play there, basically, if you haven't seen this and you're listening to us on audio, Will Fleury is in on a double leg takedown, and Shaw Dean, his opponent, is basically elbowing him in the back of the head multiple times. After about 8 elbows, Will drops to his knees again.
That's tough to watch, isn't it?
It's fucking hard to watch, man. But I haven't actually counted it, but it's about 15. At this time now, the referee steps in now and touches the fighter, and now there's 1, 2,
What the hell?
3. I think I counted 4 earlier. So 4 elbows as the referee touches them. So, couple of questions I have, Dan. First of all, with Will in with that, surely when the first elbow lands, you might say a warning, a scream, hey, watch your target, something like that along that line, you can break it. But after 14 elbows, why is the referee moving in like he's in slow motion? What's the protocol here from you as a referee?
All right. Well, first of all, how we're doing, and 2 things. I think that video there is in slow motion. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It is in slow motion, yeah.
Yeah, but he's moving very.
And the other thing, there is no sound to it, so we don't know what the referee is saying to him, whether he's warning him or not. But you're right, that first one, normal protocol is if you do catch onto the back of the head, and obviously Will was, for the first maybe 2, he was okay to carry on, he was still putting that pressure on. As a referee, you warn him, watch the back of the head, and obviously if it continues, you call time, certainly sooner than what I just saw. Yeah. It was a bit difficult to watch, especially the way, I think, like you said, after 7 or 8 elbows to the back of the head, Will just drops to his knees. It's not as if he's dropping to change level to take a double leg or a single leg. He drops to his knees and is literally just slumped against the cage with the fighter. Yeah, maybe muscle memory or a bit of body reaction of how he should be is taking over, but you could tell his system was shut down for a split second the way he dropped to his knees, and it was difficult to watch. Prime example for that for me would be. If you remember the Colin Fletcher versus what's his name, Mbama, when Goddard was refereeing it, the elbows to the back of the head
in Birmingham.
Goddard. Sorry, who was it?
No, it was in Birmingham. The fight. I can't remember who it was against.
Yes.
It was in Birmingham.
I think it was against Walter Gahadza. Was it? Is it not?
I'm not sure.
Anyway, whoever it was, you saw 2 elbows. Goddard stepped in and took precautions. But to be counting 15 to 17 elbows to the back of the head. Is kind of hard,
You're right about that.
I've only seen that clip that's been put up by John Kavanagh and yourself on Reddit, so I can't, it's hard to elaborate on that.
But
the really weird one though was the decision of a no contest over a disqualification.
Sorry, it become a what?
So the really weird one, I thought, like obviously it was hard to watch, but the really weird one was the decision to give a no contest rather than a disqualification. What would you think the referee's thought process behind that one was?
I don't know, because for me that looks like a DQ. I mean, only time it would be I don't happen afterwards whether they brought the doctor in and Will wasn't able to continue. But if he wasn't able to continue, you'd make it a no contest because you deem it as, or it was accidental elbows to the back of the head, or there was no malice or intention behind it, but it was clearly, like we said, 15, 17 elbows to the back of the head. So in my eyes, that should have been a DQ. But yeah, I don't know. It's that you have to ask the referee what his reasons are.
We were talking to Will earlier, Dan. He was on with us earlier. He was grateful to have Will on again. And he was basically, we asked him that, why was it deemed a no contest? And Will said he was told because his head was moving, as in head movement. So basically, they were saying that he potentially was moving into the elbows, causing them to land on the back of his head. I don't know if you have any comment on that.
Look, everyone can just draw a conclusion by watching a video. I mean, I saw very minimum head movement, as in head movement trying to duck, get away from those elbows. The only head movement I saw is him going limp and getting hit back of the head. It's a tough one. Like I said, no one. I hate, all of you guys. I'm not criticising the referee here, but I hate talking bad about them as well. But just watching that, if anything, I feel more for Will, for his health, for his safety. Who knows? It could have repercussions in the future. Not for his career, but for his health. Taking them amount of shots to the back of the head, whereas the spinal cord, where you got a lot of nerve endings at the top of the back of your head. That's the thing that worries me. And the other thing was, you know, if a referee's going to call time, sure as hell, make sure them fighters are broken up and he stopped elbowing, rather than turning your attention to the timekeeper and calling time while another 3 or 4 elbows are being thrown. There could be the final shots that could literally end someone's career, and that's the worrying thing, you know. So, but hopefully, you know, the way what I would like to see is, you know, a lot of people always say, oh, you know, he shouldn't ref again, he shouldn't do. Maybe he just needs a bit of education, you know. If he does recognise his mistakes, great, do it. Recognise it, go back to the drawing board, work on your mistakes, and next time, you know, okay, I'm gonna, you know, instead of waiting for so long, I'll be in there quicker. You know, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
This leads me down into something that you were in there for, so you can, you know, you'll have to tell us a little bit about. I actually seen it today on YouTube, and I actually shared it on good old MMA Reddit. Was you were referee at Rock for Rise of Champions, is it? It's the Brad Pickett show. And basically a fighter got clipped with, might I add, an unbelievably beautiful right hand. And he went down and you dived in, and the fighter turned and started wrestling you, and Dan, I have to give it to you, the jiu-jitsu was paying off him, man. That was a beautiful sprawl. And if it kept going that way, you really could have tied up the anaconda choke as well. It was looking good. But all joking aside, it's something we have spoke to you about on numerous occasions. Being in there, you referenced Mark, obviously, Mark Goddard quite a bit. You know, being in there, Mark is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I believe we have set up that match with you and Mark Goddard. But
I'm going to let this go.
How important is it, though, for, you know, you recognise these things, and then when the fighter turns on you like that, like, the fighter was just doing that out of instinct, obviously. He was hurt and he was trying to fight on, and he was, you know, just muscle memory or whatever. But you had the experience because you fight, because you were a former professional mixed martial artist, and you're now you roll your blue belt in jiu-jitsu. You knew what to do and how to control the fighter, and essentially by you doing that kept him safe as well, that he didn't stand up and fall all over the cage or whatever. So does this incident with Will Fleury signify how important it is for referees to have both the knowledge but also the experience when something like that happened with you or Rock happens?
Yeah, and also you're absolutely right. I mean, majority of the referees that I work with, like you said, Goddard, Leon Roberts, Sam Amidi, Rich Mitchell, Neil Hall, etc. You know, they're all guys who've been around the sport for a hell of a long time, and two, still train to this day, whether it'll be just for hobby wise or just to keep their own muscle memory sharp and know what they're looking out for. But yeah, with regards to the Will thing, I think more the case, maybe the referees never come across a situation like this, you know. It's not that you'd ever want to come across a situation like this at any level, whether it be from your interclubs all the way up to the big stage like that. But maybe he's never come across something like that. Maybe he couldn't recognise when someone's body's gone limp for a reason of being knocked out or put slightly unconscious. So they're the things maybe he couldn't recognise and didn't know how to react on it. So yeah, I do think it's important for fighters to know, or referees to train and to be able to pick up different things of how the body and the mind works.
It's always a pleasure getting your view and getting you to enlighten us novices in the information of refereeing. And you never know, Dan, we could be working together again. I was working with a good friend of yours at the weekend, Rob Nutley.
I saw.
You never know. I could be in the UK for the upcoming Celtic Gladiators.
Nice. I look forward to seeing you. Just a quick question to you guys. I know you guys spoke to, and I will listen back to the show. Do you know if he had any medical issues afterwards or not?
He said that during the fight he got passed by the doctor. The doctor came in and sort of asked him the date, where are you? You got to remember this was in South Africa, so it's not like he could just go, I'm in Ireland. So he knew where he was. He said the date. He said, oh, this, and that's fine. And the referee, the referee was over giving out to his opponent, Shaw Dean, saying, you know, whatever he was saying to him, we don't know. And then they were about to start the fight on their feet, and Will went, hold on, let's start it back where it was. And the ref was like, no, he says, oh, I had him up in the air ready to slam him. And the ref was like, whoa, no, you didn't. And he called the doctor to give him a balance test again. So he had to touch his toes, touch his ankle, stand on one foot, and he failed that. And that's when he said, yeah, it was a little wobbly, but whatever. But he was saying then, like, this cost Will his place in the tournament.
Yeah.
Like, he was no longer allowed to compete in the tournament. So you'll hear it in the interview. He was very disappointed. But he got both. The doctor cleared him from where are you, all that sort of stuff, but he failed the balance test after asking the referee to restart him.
He contested.
Yeah.
That's where it's time. Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, should they have gone back if the fight would have started back again? Because the referee was going to start them standing. Absolutely. Should they have gone back to where they were against the cage?
It's down to the referee's discretion. Obviously, Will's the guy whose foul has happened to him. So I personally would have put him back in that position because he had the dominant position, and it was a foul that caused him to lose that position. I.e., so same kind of thing, Yeah. But yeah, it's a hard one, But hopefully we won't see it again, and it won't happen again.
Yeah, lessons learned.
Yep.
Dan, absolute pleasure. Give our love to all the Movahedis.
I will do, and thanks for having me on, and I'll speak to you guys soon, okay?
Yep. Talk to you later, buddy.
Peace.
Much love.
Take care. See you later.
So welcome back to OFT Fight Talk. This is UFC 218 Breakdown. We are joined. We're not saying he's the best. We're just saying there's nobody better. He's been away a while, but he's back today. Brendan Dorman.
Thanks for having me, everyone.
Classic. Cracking card ahead. We're going to go from your main card, and then we're going to pick a under-the-radar bout. So opening the main card at UFC 218 is in the strawweight division. We have the karate hottie Michelle Waterson taking on Tisha Torres. Rob, I'll pass it to you first to change things up. What do you think of this one?
The thing I find interesting going into it is just how Michelle Waterson comes back. I remember the last one. She got beaten pretty handily by Rose. Now we kind of know how good Rose is now.
Especially now.
Yeah, especially now. Back then we knew she was talented, but we weren't sure the level that she was at. She's clearly at a very high level. So it'll be interesting to see how Waterson comes back. Tisha Torres has always been fairly good. She hasn't really been as dominating as she has been in Invicta, I don't think, since she's come to the UFC. She's kind of... she's had a lot of decisions and close decisions. So that's what I find interesting, just what Michelle Waterson will look like coming back into the fight. But it's a decent fight. One of the better fights I think you can make in that division. Two of the better girls.
Yeah, Brandon.
Does anyone know who's Torres camping with?
She is camping with. She is actually. Isn't she going out with bantamweight contender? Bantamweight contender. Yeah, no, but she's in the same camp. She's in the same camp.
I don't mean dating. I mean who's her fight?
No, I know.
No,
but she's in the same camp.
Team, I'd imagine.
She's in the same camp as her.
She's from Coconut Creek, so I'd say it's American Top Team, is it?
Oh, American Top Team. Yeah, I was pretty sure about that. Okay, I just want to make sure.
You're right.
Well, you have two good camps. I think it's going to come down to like striking styles. Waterson, I feel like from watching, I don't know, like video footage of her hitting pads or whatever, she's got a lot more arsenal than she's shown.
I think so too, yeah.
You might finally kind of see him. It's not that you haven't seen it, but there's someone that's that high level striker, and even in point fighting, we've seen it. Not that she's Wonder Boy, but there is that level, right? There's other people that haven't quite cut it, like that kid Scoggins, right?
Yeah.
These karate stylists that are very skilled had a couple bumps in the road, her being one of them. I mean, you could see that. Whereas what's her name's nickname is like Tornado, whatever.
Tony Tornado.
Those drive me crazy. But anyway, I mean, it does kind of, in her case, it does kind of, describe her style some. So it's going to be like this patience kind of counter-striking battle versus creating chaos again. No different, well, much different, but no different in theory than Joanna versus Rose, right?
Yeah.
So I think that Tisha does better in kind of a wild exchange type fight. Ground game is kind of a coin flip between two of them. Let's face it, we haven't seen like either of them at a super, super high level. I think Torres has shown more. Waterson, like you said, you got to reassess the Rose fight now,
Yeah, exactly.
So it's tough. I think I don't know what the line's looking like or whatever, but it should be about even on that, I would think, despite rankings.
Yeah. It'd be interesting as well, size-wise, because everyone that Michelle Waterson has fought, she's been pretty undersized. Tisha Torres isn't that big. I'm guessing she's smaller. I'll check that now in a second. But physically, I think she'd be a little bit stronger, because if you ever see Tisha Torres, her physique is pretty impressive, especially for a lady. So I don't know. I think it'd be interesting to see physicality-wise as well, because I think that Rose kind of overpowered Michelle Waterson in that fight a little bit. But I think Tisha Torres will be even stronger, so that'll be an interesting battle as well.
I think the big thing is they are ranked, I think, 5 and 6 in the UFC.
So they're neck and neck anyway.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
But I think again, as you were saying, I think there's a lot more spokes in the wheel out to Michelle Waterson. What you can see from her, we've only seen certain things, and the whole thing of that defeat to Rose was like. I think a lot of people favoured Waterson going into that fight, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
I did.
I think she was favoured.
Yeah, she was. Yeah,
Vegas, everything.
The UFC were pushing her as well, big time.
Yeah,
big time.
And
pushing
she got the dreaded curse of the ESPN cover, didn't she? The Sports Illustrated. Yeah. So you go on that.
The curse.
Yeah, you know that and Guido's you lose.
Interestingly, they both have losses to. Rose.
Rose Namajunas has beaten both of them. So they've technically fought the queen of the division at the moment. Yeah. So these are the princesses looking to become the queen. I like that. That was good. Just came up with it.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah, awesome.
Good for you.
Yeah. I think Michelle Waterson will use the karate point, and she'll get in, she'll get out, she'll stay in distance. And again, almost the way I tried to break down Masvidal against Wonderboy, she's gonna play the better game outside the range, and I think she'll use that range to her advantage. But if Tisha Torres can get inside that distance, she is a little chaos machine in there as well. But I just think Waterson's going to have too much, and I think we might see more of her. She strikes me as one of these fighters that when she's going to go away from the cage and come back, you're going to see more weapons added to the armory, and I think that's going to be the case on Saturday night.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I think she'll be able to keep on the outside. I'm not sure what the reach is. I know she's slightly taller. I think 5'1" to 5'3", I think. So I assume she's longer. She uses her kicks pretty well.
2 inches.
Yeah, she uses her kicks pretty well. I think she's going to be able to stay on the end of that. As Brendan said, Tisha likes to kind of get in close. Yeah. I think Waterson will be able to keep her away from that. So I'm going to go Waterson by a decision.
Brendan, can we drag you into a pick?
This one you can. I'll go. I'll agree with you. I think I don't see a knockout, but I see her outpointing her, maybe hurting her. No finish. Neither of them are really, terrifying finishers. Although I wouldn't have said that Rose was a while ago, besides maybe her submission. So who knows? I mean, someone with a karate stylist, she hits with anything with a heel, let's say, flush. But I don't see any like one punch knockouts. They're 115-pound women.
It is worth noticing as well, though. In Waterson's last 2 victories, she won via choke, so she's not, just a one-trick pony.
Yeah, she's not ground inept by any sense. I'm just saying they're kind of a wash there. The striking range is where it's interesting to me.
The next bout of the evening, this one. I really like this fight. Eddie Alvarez taking on Justin Gaethje. Of course, they were coaches in the episode of the season of Tough that I haven't watched. Rob hasn't watched. Brendan, have you watched Tough?
Never.
Okay, perfect. So we are a clean slate, 0-3 for watching Tough. But so we didn't see. I don't know how much all that drama plays into it. But Brendan, what do you think of this one? Eddie Alvarez taking on Justin Gaethje.
I think it's who's had more concussions. Someone's gonna just fall.
Yeah.
Gaethje, I mean, seems like a nice guy. Eddie was never particularly chinny. Now he seems really chinny.
Yeah.
Like he used to go. He talks about how he's been on all these wars, right? And Gaethje too, and we'll get to him, but. It's like I've been in wars, I've thrived in wars, right? That's like his claim to fame. But then it's like Conor just sucked his soul right out of his. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Since then, like that Poirier fight, although Poirier looked really good against Pettis too. I don't know. I mean, tough to say when you start doing MMA math, but you're just looking at two guys with these kind of like recurring concussion issues where they're getting flashed, and even if it's not a complete finish, I mean, Gaethje. If Johnson could have found like 2% power at a couple of points there, he could have finished. But that guy just doesn't. You got to really, really finish him.
Yeah.
Interesting in that regard. They're both chinny, but Gaethje kind of isn't as elusive. Let's say he kind of Frankensteins it forward, whereas Eddie has better footwork, better lateral movement, better punch selection, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So. I think if Eddie tries to play the grappling game with Gaethje, I think that's a mistake. I really do. I think his footwork and, listening to Mark Henry very closely to use his range. He's got a beautiful straight right that he can do, he can kind of no-tell on it unless he's fighting Conor McGregor. And Gaethje would be much better to get inside. He does that beautiful tie plum knee into drop step leg kick technique and uppercuts from there. I mean, he does it he's got that like a chain. It's like 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. It's a system of events. Person X does Y, I do Z. If they do X, Y, I do Z, A. You know what I mean? I don't think he's thinking it that well through, to be honest, but it's there nonetheless. It's undeniable. So I think it's going to be that. I think if it's wrestling exchanges, it's Gaethje. If it's distance and footwork and technique, it's Alvarez. If it's a gritty slugfest, so it's going to, whoever lands cleanest. You know what I mean? So, and then someone goes out because both of them are looking really chinny to me.
I think it's weird that you're saying. I get what you mean. I think Gaethje. When I seen him when he fought Michael Johnson and stuff, I thought, right, that was an incredibly exciting fight to watch. But if he fights the higher tier guys like that, he's not going to get up there. He's going to fall short because these guys are going to have movement. I agree exactly what you were saying, Brendan. He's not elusive. He does get hit, and it's like. This is the guy that is the complete opposite of Demetrius Johnson. Yeah. Demetrius Johnson doesn't get hit and prides himself on that, while Justin Gaethje is like, hit me, motherfucker, I'm just going to keep coming.
He does. He states that as well, which is mad.
So it's
it may work with someone like Eddie, but with like a sniper like Conor, Ferguson, I mean, Khabib's another one. Even, Barboza, like that matchup, there's no way they would have made it because they're definitely trying to build his brand, right? I mean, if that's not obvious, I don't know what is, right? You're talking about Watterson, right? Like the cover of the magazine, whatever. They're definitely building this kid up to be something. So whoever they is seems to see something in Alvarez that they thought made sense because that fight seemed like a goofy announcement to me. I mean, I like it on paper, but there were other guys. If you're really pushing the guy, give him Barboza. I don't see that going well for him. For Gaethje, because it's not going to take much. Yeah. Even someone with stronger hands than MJ. Like MJ knocked out Poirier, but he's not a power puncher. You know what I mean? He's speedy. He's very fast. But like Barboza's power. You know what I mean? And if you stand in front of a guy like that, he's going to light you up like a Christmas tree. Yeah. Whereas Eddie's a little different. Eddie gets, I guess, caught up in the moment. Lately. Yeah. So. Sorry, I kind of cut you off with that.
The fight I'm going to look back for Eddie Alvarez for me is, yes, we've seen the Conor thing. I honestly think Conor does to a lot of people except Diaz. He gets inside their head, and I definitely think Eddie Alvarez is a perfect example of that. But now, that's not to take anything away from what Conor McGregor done that night. He looked like the Matrix when he fought Alvarez. But I'm going to throw back Alvarez's performance against RDA. I thought that was the best looking Alvarez I've seen. Although he did get hit in the fight, he just he was high pressure and combinations. But I can see him. I know you said about wrestling, you don't see him wrestling with Gaethje. It might be a mistake. I can see him mixing it up to give Gaethje different looks. To make Gaethje think I'm not just going to be in a stand up fight. He's not going to just stand and trade. He's going to mix it up, maybe even introduce leg kicks against him and work for takedowns. If he doesn't get them, even put him down, pick him up, let him waste his energy, get him back, hold him down for a few minutes, a few shots on the mat. I'm going to go with Eddie Alvarez here. I think we're going to go see a rejuvenated Eddie Alvarez. I think he's got a point to prove, and I think the fact that, as you're saying, they're building Justin Gaethje, and I think he's going to use this as his statement to say, look, I ain't gone anywhere here. And I honestly think we're going to see prime time Eddie Alvarez and a return, and you take away Conor, like when he beat Anthony Pettis, when he beat RDA, everyone was going, holy shit, we've got a new king in the lightweight division.
The one that I was going to bring back to was the Gilbert Melendez fight, because Gilbert at times can be Justin Gaethje, Eddie Alvarez type fighter where you can drag people into that kind of fight. Whereas I think Gaethje, I think it's almost impossible to fight Gaethje with a game plan like that. I think if you're an aggressive forward moving striker, that's the fight you're going to have with Justin Gaethje. It's very difficult not to have that kind of fight. So I think that it's going to be a brawl. I don't think it's going to be a technical fight from Eddie Alvarez. I think it's going to be a difficult thing to do. So that's why I think when you have Justin Gaethje and Eddie Alvarez, and Eddie Alvarez while I think his chin is still looking okay, his recovery is not quite as good as it used to be. And I think Justin Gaethje's recovery is incredible. Like, he gets hit and he gets hurt and then he recovers.
Here's the thing about the chins, right? Is it's tricky. It's not with Gaethje. He's never been finished, right? So to say he's chinny is like, it's not disingenuous because how many times was he on bad legs in the Johnson fight? Is it safe to say 5?
Yeah, probably
more.
Yeah.
Like bad legs, not like a little hiccup. Yeah. Bad legs, like oh boy, this might be over. 5 times. Yeah. So it doesn't take much to make that. You know what I mean? Yeah. The little we talk about this a lot, but that little movement of the brain, that little short circuit. But it's like he recircuits fast, if that makes sense. So it's like Eddie's very fast, if anything, right? He's quick. He's got quick hands. Yeah. When he needs to finish, like he did RDA, right? He caught him with that beautiful short right, and then he just piled on. It was over immediately as soon as he heard him. That's the difference between maybe MJ and him, is that if he catches him, I'm telling you, it's all going to be angles and his hands. Yeah. He's got a beautiful straight right. If you can kind of throw that out and away instead of like your typical like 1-2, 1-2 drop step, he needs to be a little more creative, lateral, dart in, dart out, catch him once, and then be Eddie Alvarez that we all knew, because he didn't do that well with Cowboy. He didn't really do all that well with Pettis. Let's be honest. That was kind of a fight. Yeah. RDA, he looked like a phenom, and then Conor, he looked lost. Yeah. So Eddie Alvarez in the UFC is an anomaly to me.
The one thing
kind of is too with one fight. It's really tough to call.
Just the one thing I thought as well, though, I felt like, don't get me wrong, there was a good distance in between. Like there was like almost 6 months, but I almost thought after Conor and the beating, he took that. When he came into Poirier, I still think he looked a little rattled and he looked a little gun shy.
The Poirier one did look weird as well. And
but now I have to say, I thought Alvarez had turned the corner in that fight against Poirier, and he was starting to take over, and then it was a knee, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was another one of them ones where they were both brawling and they were both leaving openings. And I just favour Justin Gaethje in a fight where there's plenty of openings and you just have the younger guy, probably less shot born, even though he's been hit so much, and we talked about that. Like Justin Gaethje's been hit a lot in his fights. He's 18-0, but easily 5, 6, 7 of those fights could be losses. Easily. Like if you just got caught with the right shot, they could be losses. So it's difficult when you have a guy like that. Yeah. He's 18-0, but he's not a Khabib unbeaten fighter. He's not that kind of guy. He's a guy who easily could have been beaten. You know what I mean?
Not even
you know what I mean? Like you look at Khabib and you said there's most likely, like, whatever happened in those fights, he was winning those. But
Khabib decimates people.
Exactly. Whereas Gaethje,
he decimates everyone.
Gaethje gets in these crazy brawls where
Gaethje's in a fight every time Gaethje
exactly.
Yeah,
it's a coin flip at times, and he says it as much, But I just favour Justin Gaethje.
He's honest in his discourse, which is admirable, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So who you're going with?
I'm going with Gaethje. In a crazy brawl where he can just survive and land the better shots.
What I always love about this, Brendan, is me and Robert Thomas was this morning we were talking about this, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm picking Eddie Alvarez. Yeah. And you're like, you know what? I sort of agree with you.
Yeah.
And then he has the day to himself, and you know what I mean?
Think about it. Yeah. It's crazy.
Am I a bad influence on your picks? I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
Are we going to get you into a pick on this one?
Yeah, I'll do this. I think I can do everyone on this card. I don't have any affiliation with really anyone. Cool. So, oddly enough, after everything I said, I'm going to go with Gaethje to win. I don't know. That guy seems to have momentum on his side, and Alvarez in the UFC still, besides RDA, he has that one. I'm not impressed by his performance and all his other fights so much. He's a great talent, man. The other thing is, like, they both come from other organizations, so it's tricky. It's a coin flip. It is. I feel like it's this weird destiny pick, I don't know.
Don't bet on
so
this
I'm
just
going to stick Gaethje by a finish.
Yeah, that's my insight. Don't bet on this fight.
Do bet on the fight.
Maybe bet on a finish, possibly.
Definitely don't.
It's going to be a decision watch.
Yeah, I don't think the thing is, like, everything is are saying, I'm not going, nah,
exactly,
you're wrong.
Yeah, it's one of them.
Nah, I don't think like that. Like, Gaethje's an animal, and if Eddie Alvarez can't get him out of there, he's probably going to end up on the end of a highlight reel knockout. So, moving up the card, we have Henry Cejudo taking on Sergio Pettis. This is a great fight. You have Pettis here currently on a 4-fight win streak, and then you've Cejudo coming off an incredible finish of. Name has left me. Wilson Hayes had left me there for a second. Yeah, beautiful finish. And like, this is weird. This is Sergio Pettis is in the realm of He wins this, he's got to be looking at a title shot if DJ doesn't fight TJ.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
But let's pass it to Brendan. What do you think, Brendan, in this fight?
Technically, what you think of this fight?
No secret that Duke's a friend of mine, right? Yeah. So let's get that out of the way. So no one thinks I'm marking out, dude. He's my friend.
Still hasn't
so it's
come
a
on
little.
the show,
I'm partial, you know. I'm a little partial. Did you say it was still?
He still hasn't come on the show, by the way.
Yeah.
He said he will whenever you call him. I have his phone number.
He went and talked him.
I'll call him. Just tell me.
Him.
We'll talk off air about that.
Yeah, go.
Let's go with the card.
So Sergio Pettis is Anthony, but hungry. Anthony's lost his hunger. It's pretty obvious to everyone. Yeah. Duke would never tell me that. He loves him like his son.
Yeah.
But I see it, and I'm a little more objective, I think, from the outside looking in. Sergio still hasn't reached the top of the mountain, and he's lived in a brother's shadow, which sometimes can work out poorly and sometimes can work out phenomenally, right? You have like the people like Weidman and John Jones that you always hear about. They have these bigger older brothers that beat the shit out of them growing up or whatever, you know. That same kind of thing is in play here, where I don't think Anthony bullied Sergio, but it's a shadow thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. But he seems hungry and he's ever improving, and his striking is probably more technical now than Anthony's. I think his hands are much better. The problem's going to be is that build thing, right? When we're talking about smaller weight classes like that, Cejudo's a bit of a freak in the fact that after last fight, now he has striking in the mix. Good striking in the mix, I should say. I mean, he had striking before, now it looks good. And his wrestling is clearly, just outrageous. What he does there, who knows, right? Because both Pettises have always had super fast tips off their back, so just taking them down is not always enough. I mean, the control element is there. The difference between someone like Khabib when he takes you down and guys like in the Cejudo realm is that there's a ground and pound system and there's a submission system. Khabib's going to hurt you real bad, and then when he's sick of hurting you, then he'll submit you. Yeah. Like he's almost a twisted fuck like that, but it's awesome. But it's a tough fight for both guys. I think the speed and the technique of Pettis is better than anyone besides DJ, right? He's a unicorn, right? But let's take him out of the mix. Cejudo's never fought a Sergio. Sergio's definitely never fought, you know what I mean? Vice versa. Cejudo and Pettis haven't fought anyone like each other. So it's like, even if I had no stake or claim in or dog in the fight, I'd still be going, I said this to you guys like 2 cards ago when it was announced, how much I was looking forward to it. Yeah. So I think stylistically, it's just it's got an old school feel to it, you know? Interesting. If Sergio can't land clean and gets taken down early and he stays down, I think it's going to go, probably could go Cejudo's way that way. But don't be surprised if Sergio uses some crazy angles and kicks to, angle his way into doing some damage. Cejudo's shown his body is a little weak. Don't forget that from the clinch. And it was, again, from the unicorn. I get it. But Duke teaches a really, really good Thai clinch. And it's different than a wrestling clinch, and people need to know that. So there's no area that's safe except for Cejudo's top game is semi-safe. Even that's nothing's safe. It's like no one's safe anywhere. Usually I like to go, if it stays here, this person's a little bit, and that. It's really not like that. I think I think if it's like kicking range, maybe Pettis is favorite. Everywhere else, it's like flip a coin kind of thing. Yeah. Who's going to get off what they're trying to do better? I think Cejudo's going to be more comfortable going down to the ground, but I just don't know how much he's going to push the issue, I guess. Yeah. That's the big question mark.
It's a really interesting one as well, because like both guys have pretty much grown up in the UFC, you could say. Like we talk about 100%, because Pettis was probably 8-0 when he got to the UFC. He's still really, really young. And Cejudo was
18, I think.
Yeah, so it's crazy. They both kind of grew up in front of a huge audience like that, and they've had losses at the biggest level. So we look at the likes of Demetrius Johnson, who started in WEC and kind of started under the radar, and we forget how much work he done outside the UFC before he's become what he actually has become. So with these two guys, you don't really know how they're going to look in the next fight. Like Henry Cejudo looked like a completely different fighter last time. Completely different fighter. Nobody
like a reinvented
that.
guy.
Exactly. And Sergio Pettis constantly looks like a different fighter each time. But looking back at some of their previous fights, which you have to look back at, you definitely have to mention, as you said, the wrestling and the grappling, where Sergio Pettis sometimes, again, this is probably gone now, but in some of his fights, he spent too much time on his back. And he likes to work off his back, and he's good off his back. But with a guy like Cejudo, who can be on top, who can land good shots, and who can keep him down, you'd want Pettis to get up onto his feet. You don't want him to stay on his back because he'd be losing rounds.
Yeah, you
even
almost
if he get hurt.
If I was his grappling coach, let's say, or if I was in the camp right now, I'd be like, don't even worry about your submissions. Use your submissions to create escapes.
Yeah.
Like hip bumps, fake guillotines to scooting your hips out, stand up.
Yeah.
Don't even play the ground game.
No.
Not with a guy like that. You don't win a gold medal in the Olympics in wrestling without a heavy, ridiculous top game. I mean, don't even play the game because you may catch an armbar, you may miss, and he may get your back. And if you're turtled up against a guy like that, he's just gonna smash your head in.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And even if he doesn't do damage, even if he doesn't do damage, when you're on your back in MMA, you're just not winning the fight.
Draining.
It's unfortunate. And
anyone who's if you've sparred, forget those lights, right? The little lights of the gym that you may train at. If you've sparred, being on your back sucks. Yeah. Doesn't matter. I mean, unless you're like drilling, if it's even quasi-serious, it's not fun. And when you have someone like that, they know how to lay really heavy. I've had white belts that had a wrestling background. They know how to be heavy. Yeah. You know? Usually jiu-jitsu players don't learn that to like blue belt-ish. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So,
and how many
interesting.
How many times have you seen it as well where a guy is on his back, and even if he's doing good work, you're kind of just racing against time because eventually, you're in the second round and you're probably down 2 rounds, and then you're just trying to make up for that lost time. So I think it's going to be a difficult situation there. Striking, who knows what's going to happen? It's just a fantastic matchup in striking wise, but I'm just leaning towards the
kind of speed versus power, maybe. Yeah. Technique versus power, even. Yeah.
I think with this one, the disadvantage for Sergio Pettis is that it's a 3-round fight. I think if he got it into the deeper rounds, because I, as you said, I was just sitting back. You may have noticed I didn't open my mouth much while two of you were talking. I think that the big gold medalist thing is a big thing. Like Cejudo's wrestling is incredible, but if you look at his last 2 defeats against Benavidez and DJ, I think that was a big thing where he it was a big learning curve, and he was like, "It's time."
Benavidez was close though. Close. It was razor close.
When you look at like all his fights before that were split decision, unanimous decision. He was a decision machine, and while when he went in against Wilson Heights, it was like a game changing moment. After 2 defeats, he was more aggressive, and you could see that in his striking. And that's the great thing with his caliber of wrestling behind him. He can focus so much on improving his striking, but what his striking will allow him to then incorporate his wrestling. Yeah. And like he could sort of get in close to distance with his striking and get a big power double or whatever it may be, grab hold of a single, pick up a Pettis and take a slam. I just think his striking is going to open the holes to allow him to get Pettis down. Go ahead, hand raised.
Quick point. This just came to my mind. I think I always like to throw in a little technical tidbit for those that are watching that watch for that, probably only for me. I just want to get one little technique. Yeah, if you think back, you can go back pretty far with this, of wrestlers who came from a really high pedigree wrestling, right? Not high school, we're talking like college. I know you guys don't totally understand the concept of the All-American thing. I get it. And it's not by your fault. It is what it is, right? We call football different things. So none of those guys really translate, not often, into great strikers. Jiu-jitsu guys have, right? Because a lot of people just start in jiu-jitsu. Like, a lot of times that used to be the kind of the gateway in, right? Into MMA. So with Cejudo, it was really interesting to see him between 2 fights. So no time. Zero time. Yeah. No time. Freudian. With that, his striking to be actually like crisp, right? I mean, it was like good striking. It wasn't, he's improved a tad. It was like, whoa, dude can strike. So that's like, has he done that again? Has it been fractal? Yeah. Because name a guy that's like, Cormier's striking sloppy. He's got good dirty boxing like Randy did, and most of them are kind of that vein. Right? It's like they do enough. Like, I don't consider John Jones a high-level wrestler. He kind of got into MMA with the Greco background, sort of, Yeah. But he didn't junior college. That's all he did, This is a guy that spent most of his life thinking like a wrestler. And the muscle, I think it's because of the way that you use your muscles in wrestling are much different. You tend to lock a lot and hold. It's like holding strength. In jiu-jitsu, you're flowing, and it's loose, and as you know, with striking, it's all about being loose. You can't be tight and a good striker. Those 2 things, they don't work at all. I don't care if you're defensive, powerful, elusive, counterpunching. You have to be super, super relaxed. And I think that's interesting. So let's see if he's done that again. Because it's super impressive what we've seen already. But again, Sergio's he's super experienced for like 22. You know, he's a kid. Interesting.
I just think of that caliber of wrestler against him. I just think that's going to be the difference.
Very well could be.
And I just think, you know, the added wrinkle of striking that Cejudo showed, if he brings that to it, that's going to allow him to open up his wrestling. So, Brendan, I am sorry, I will be picking Henry Cejudo in this one. But like, as you just said, age there, Sergio Pettis is only young. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's going to have, like, you know, he's on a far. Like, I will not be surprised if Pettis wins this, because the same thing can be said.
Exactly.
You know, he's gone away. We haven't seen him. What's he going to look like when he comes back again?
Improvements,
Exactly. So, you know, I think it's a great fight. It's a great fight for the division, and it's sort of a real good argument that if either of them win, you got to go, well, no, hold on, TJ. You know, there is a fight here. There is a legitimate
Depending
fight for
on
TJ.
how, maybe, but yeah.
Yeah. But
I'm going with you as well. I think it's great as well because they were supposed to fight. Before both their last fights, they both won their last fights, and I think it's such a better fight now since it's been delayed. Like, we hate fights getting delayed, but now it's such a better fight. Like, back then it was kind of it's a good fight, but now it's amazing. I'm on the same line thinking as you.
211 there.
Pettis could have made huge improvements, and I expect him to make huge improvements, but just based on what we've seen, I think he spends too much time on his back when he shouldn't, and maybe that's because he's fought some guys who just has been able to keep him down. But I kind of just see the grappling being the X factor in this one. So I'm going to go with Cejudo by a decision. Yeah.
Well, make a pick, Brendan. The co-main event of the evening is a heavyweight bout between Alistair Overeem and Francis Ngannou. Brendan.
the most terrifying prospect in the history of anything ever.
Wow.
Oh, man. Poor Overeem. No, I don't. Okay, Overeem early is dangerous. We all know this. He did this with Stipe, and then he got clipped. I don't think Ngannou's going to get... I don't know. I think he's going to... If I had to map it out in my head, if I picture this 100 different ways, I think 2 out of those 100, I see Overeem pulling something really tricky off.
Yeah.
Another guy I'm friends with, Dewey Cooper, not to the extent that I am with Duke, but Dewey Cooper is Ngannou's striking coach. Now that he's moved to Vegas, right?
Yeah.
And he's shown me, like, privately some of the videos of that dude. Oh my God. He's just, you guys saw that he broke the world record, strongest punch ever thrown in the, like, that's been tested. He just passed Tyrone Spong with that.
Yeah.
Some ridiculous crocodile bite strength or something, you know. But he's fast and he's agile. Yeah. I have a quick breakdown of him on my channel, but it's fast. After this one, I'm probably gonna have to do another one, I think. Yeah. Overeem's a savvy vet though, and he's changed his game from his Ubereem days quite a bit to just be cerebral. You know, he doesn't rely on. He still has knockout power. He's still a heavyweight, but he's not the guy that fought Lesnar. You know what I mean? That's a different dude.
That's a point as well. He's actually significantly smaller coming into this fight as well.
Much smaller, yeah. I think what you brought up, the whole trickiness experience, that's probably how Alistair would win it. That's when I was thinking about the fight. I was like, if he does win, he's going to show us something from Ngannou that we just haven't seen yet, that he's lacking. Could it be that Overeem goes for takedowns and gets takedowns? Because Overeem has a decent ground game. He has a good top game. It could be.
He doesn't have good takedowns, though.
No, not good takedown. Maybe a trip or something.
He does like front face lock or guillotine types to inside trips. He'll do that, or like from the clinch, he'll take you down. But he's not like he's not going to shoot a double leg.
Yeah.
You know
what if Overeem gets in close and gets them knees going?
Possibly, again, I think we don't have a huge number of data or a huge amount of data on Francis Ngannou. We've seen plenty of stuff, but probably not a variety of things. You know, we haven't really seen him on the defensive a whole lot. So maybe something there.
I've seen some things that most people haven't, you know. And just watch out. I can't I can't disclose much. Yeah, but
that's what I expect. I expect him just to see a continuation of what he's been doing.
Dude, he's so terrifying. He's so, and it's his speed, his footwork already.
Yeah.
This is a guy that's pretty new to all this.
Yeah.
But he's picking everything up, like, again, I'll use the word fractal or exponential or whatever. It's just this crazy rapid increase in skill.
Yeah.
He's obviously a raw animal. I mean, he's freaky. He's terrifying to look at. His hands are like, the size of like, whatever, a guitar by me. But he's technically sound, and more so now than he even was in the Arlovsky fight. Yeah. So I think trickery is Overeem's biggest chance, and he comes from a great camp for that, game planning. But man, Ngannou just seems like, he just feels like the future to me.
Yeah,
if he's gonna have a hiccup, get it out of the way now, because after that,
Yeah, like I was just trying to throw devil's advocate in there. Like Overeem, you look at his last few fights, and he became the running man in a lot of them as well. Where he was trying to say he was resetting. He wasn't. He was getting cardio in. He was
literally
doing laps.
running.
He was doing laps of the cage. And this is, I remember years and years ago, I remember Baz Rutten when he was talking about Alistair Overeem.
Yeah.
When Alistair Overeem went to the Black Zillions, and he was basically saying he's getting away from... Alistair has never had a good chin. This is what Bass was saying, basically, where we always used to make sure that when he threw a combination or single post, the hands would come straight back up to the chin. And when he went to Black Zillions, he got away from that. He started dropping his hands and thinking he was this ultimate striker, and he could take a shot, he could move.
He is a great striker.
He is.
I know what you mean.
He was getting away from that
His
fundamental of getting the hand back, getting the chin protected. And I remember then when Overeem got knocked out, I can't remember who it was, knocked him out, and Bas Rutten basically just went...
It's probably the Bigfoot one, was it? When he got wrecked by Bigfoot.
But like, you look at Overeem, he's had a...
Travis Brown.
He's had a resurgence beating Verdum and Mark Hunt. Mark Hunt is a big hitter, and he avoided that, so can he avoid it?
It's so different.
The thing is, Mark Hunt sort of... No disrespect to Mark Hunt, I'm a big fan of Mark Hunt, but Mark Hunt plods forward, while Francis Ngannou does not plod forward. Francis Ngannou is like, if you were having a nightmare and somebody was chasing you and you just couldn't get away from them, it was this guy, you know what I mean?
He's a predator.
I am proud. I am proud to say
that
last year we done our pick of who is the biggest breakout star in the UFC of 2017, and I actually said that I think Francis Ngannou was going to be the heavyweight champion, so I'm just off.
I think I said Max Holloway, did I? I'm not sure.
Don't think you did.
Well, that's a good. Both are great calls.
I think
he's the guy you want, like in an alley with you.
Yeah, Yeah, he's terrifying.
Yeah, he's. It's not Mark Hunt, man. He can close distance in a fraction of a second. I was saying this is a different. I know,
power.
I'm just saying.
Francis Ngannou is the guy that when he stood behind you, you would talk shit to anyone. When you know Ngannou's your guy, you would talk shit to whoever.
And he could be an absolute superstar as well if you're not coming from the actual fighting thing. Just him. If he can knock out Alistair Overeem, that guy could be an absolute superstar.
One thing...
Oh, yeah, and the heavyweight division needs him.
One thing, have we seen him take a shot? Can he take a shot? Because Alistair Overeem can knock boys out too.
I'm sure, Brendan's face.
You gotta hit him.
Yeah. You gotta hit him. Yeah. You never know.
He's lightning quick.
As he's running off, his flailing arm might catch him. You never know. No, but look, I'm joking. I really like what Alistair Overeem has done.
Yeah.
I always watch him and Alistair Overeem was the guy that you were like, I want him to come to the UFC.
Yeah.
And he came up like somebody put a car pump in him and pumped him up. But he's very different looking now, and I just think his last few fights, although you have to think his last two, we were all salivating at Fabricio Verdum's jiu-jitsu against Harris. I know his last fight wasn't the most exciting fight in the world, Verdum, but he's beaten Verdum, he's beaten Mark Hunt, he's beaten Arlovsky in his last 4 fights. He's only lost to the heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
So Overeem, realistically, Overeem beats Francis Ngannou. Overeem is legit for a title shot.
100%.
But that said, Francis Ngannou's going to knock him out probably in the first round.
That if is in font 248. That's a huge if.
Yeah, I'm picking. I'm going to say Alistair Overeem. I'm picking Francis Ngannou first round knockout. I can't say anything else. Maybe a second round knockout. But I'll tell you what. Alistair Overeem has a serious balls taking this fight because this is a dangerous fight. There's a young
one wants to fight that guy.
No
one.
Serious set of balls.
I'll say this just as an ending on my post or this thought thread. I like Overeem as a person. We have mutual friends. I don't have anything personal against the guy. I don't see it. I think Ngannou's the future.
That's the thing, isn't it?
If this were Stipe, I don't know that I'd be saying it much different.
This is the thing. I think Alistair Overeem has accomplished so many. He's had 58.
It's crazy.
Mixed martial arts competitions.
MMA fights.
MMA and he's like a world kickboxing champion and K1 champion.
K1 Grand Prix,
K1 Grand Prix champion. So
he's had about 100 fights.
Yeah, this guy, more than 100. Jesus, this guy has done it all. But Francis Ngannou is now doing it all.
Yeah.
So I think he's just a big hungry. Look, every time they're also
heavyweights as well. Anything can happen.
Of the new breed, a new line comes along, a new gorilla, whatever one you want to use. A new big motherfucker comes along and just takes what's yours and says, "This is mine now."
Yeah, and
you have to go.
Okay.
Fair enough.
What am I gonna do?
And that's it.
So, I wouldn't take it. Jesus, I don't want to fight that guy.
No, I'm like, have it. What do you want? I will give it to you. Stop wrapping your hands. There's no need to wrap your hands. Just have it. Have it. Yeah. Main event.
I bet holding pads for him's a nightmare. You know what I mean?
Jesus Christ.
That guy want to earn serious money. Oh, girl, let's not be sexist. Your main event of the evening was originally meant to be Max Holloway against Frankie Edgar. Frankie Edgar fell away. Facial injury, I think he orbital fracture.
Poor Frankie.
I can't remember.
Can't catch a break.
And Jose Aldo, of all the people you were expecting to step up, I was thinking Cub Swanson. But Jose Aldo...
me too.
Jose Aldo's taking the fight. It's a rematch. They fought not too long ago where Max Holloway, it's an automatic rematch. They fought back in June of 2017. So Jose Aldo stepping back up and getting an automatic rematch in weird circumstances. Do we see the outcome any differently here?
No.
Excellent. Thanks for joining Obviously Fight Talk.
I think all those... what did I hear? What?
Thanks for joining. We're done.
I said thanks for joining Obviously Fight Talk. This has been 91.
And it's good
that would
night.
have been hilarious if we ended it there.
No, Aldo's just gotten away from everything that made him good. But even with Holloway in the first fight, he threw this wonderful, like, fake 2 bolo uppercut into a 3 that was long and then forgot how to leg kick again. It's like, Jesus, man, you can't just throw single leg kicks. All of your best success with them was off of your hook.
Yeah.
You know what the Dutchie... I call it a Dutchie because of his camp. And I've been using that term for 8 years, longer. I don't know, a long time. What happened to that? What happened to your black belt in jiu-jitsu? Where's that? It's just like all these things are like gone from him. I just think he feels broken to me. And he used to be one of. It's not like he isn't now, but he was one of my favorite fighters when I was like, finding myself especially as a coach to watch because he was doing everything kind of right and he was so dominant. Last fight he had moments, he had moments, and then he had really bad moments. He got clipped.
I think I think the moments.
I think he's another chin guy that you got to put in there.
Yeah. I think the moments you're referring to as well, Brendan. I think Max Holloway was just having a look at him. I think Max Holloway.
Yeah, that guy's.
Like for me, yes and no. Like nobody wants to get hit. He definitely got hit.
Just in case he likes to get hit.
So I suppose.
He's like a masochist.
Yeah,
I don't know, sadist. Someone that likes pain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's different. That guy's a little different.
Yeah, Liverpool fans. A little bit of pain.
Like nobody wants to get hit, but I do think that Holloway was feeling them out at times there. I don't think there was any point where he was in trouble. Like, there's a few points where he was backtracking, he was moving backwards, and people were like, "Oh, maybe he's hurt a little bit." I don't see that. I don't think he was hurt at all.
You've never seen him in trouble.
No, never really.
He's never looked hurt.
No,
never.
Yeah, Hawaiians,
man. You look Polynesian blood.
Look though, right? You look at Max Holloway. Right? Max Holloway is 25 years of age.
I know. You know we're coming to the end of the show and Noel starts
I love picking up the mic. Yeah, Max getting
I love that. Yeah. I feel important when you do that.
Yeah. Max Holloway is 25 years of age. He's on an 11-fight win streak.
25.
The last man to beat him was Conor McGregor. He's looked better and better and better every time. And I just
even that fight was kind of close.
Yeah, it was very close. But that's the one. If I was Sean Shelby, or the UFC matchmakers, if I was allowed to make
Fred
one wish,
Shelby.
yeah. If I was Sean Shelby's younger brother,
Bruce
John
Shelby.
I'd say, hey Sean, make Max Connor 2.
Rupert Shelby.
Yeah. I'd love to see Connor Max go again, because I think
absolutely.
they've both, two of them have evolved
Even
as
at
fighters.
lightweight.
No, let Max beat Jose, let Connor beat Ferguson, and then have a super fight. That is a super
At what
fight.
weight?
Which one?
Connor and if let's say Max
Connor
beats
Max?
let's say
Yeah.
Max
Let's
beats
say.
Jose this weekend, and then they make Connor Ferguson, let's say January.
Oh Christ, the fucking super fights. No,
No,
God,
but
no.
Max Holloway, Conor McGregor is an incredible fight with
It
the two
is,
of them
yeah.
champions of
If he
featherweight.
vacates, if Connor vacates, awesome. You got Tony, and I mean, you got Tony.
Looks
What's he
just hard.
doing? Nothing, right?
Yeah.
So he just, if I like the Motown Phenom, but he was ranked 7. Khabib's he's gonna be fatty, and everyone's gonna talk a lot about
Lay
him
off
as
the
if it
tiramisu.
fucking matters to that guy who grew up in Dagestan. He doesn't give a fuck. He's gonna fight Barboza, and I love Barboza a lot. I know him. Yeah. And then what? You know what I mean? Let's get some of these titles to start feeling real.
I know, I agree,
That's why I don't even like Aldo in this fight. Honestly,
Yeah.
You give him another shot, his
Yeah.
5th shot at redemption here. Come
Well,
on, man.
who else did I get? Like, in fairness,
God.
You could
Yeah,
say that
but
about Frankie
Cubba's
as well.
fighting,
You could say that about
Ortega.
Frankie as well, to be fair. Frankie's had a shit ton of
Oh, yeah.
shots as well.
Yeah.
So,
all
you know.
right, but
Sure.
But he did earn it,
But
though.
he
But
hasn't-
Cub
he
Swanson
hasn't
Brian
fought Max,
Ortega
you
is
know.
a great fight. I think
Yeah.
that's a real standout
Who?
fight. Cub
Cub
Swanson and Brian Ortega.
It's a
I
great
think
fight,
that's a
yeah.
great
It's a
fight.
phenomenal fight.
So
I agree.
I-
But I just don't like Aldo in it. I don't.
Yeah.
Let's get back to this fight.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. Is good thing, Rob.
Yeah.
Brilliant. For me, I think Aldo just isn't going to offer anything new to Max Holloway. Well, I think Max Holloway has gone off and has just become more ninja.
Yeah.
In the
No, I
meantime.
agree. As well, if you watch the finish as well, it was a very simple combination that Max Holloway landed, but he just the range that he landed it was just beautiful, just straight down the middle.
Putting the mic back down.
And also Jose Aldo, traditionally, his defensive techniques was a lot of head movement, just getting out of range,
nice.
stuff like that.
Nice.
Very good.
Well done.
Just getting out of range. Whereas I don't know if he can do that anymore. I don't know if he's really.
He doesn't do it, really.
Yeah.
The only time he seems to show up lately is when he fights fucking Frankie. It's
Yeah,
weird.
I know, yeah. I put a beating on Frankie as well.
You said something though, Brendan, where you said he looks broken. He does. He looks like a bloke who's like, he doesn't want to fight anymore, and people are going, "No, get out and
Right.
fight." And he's like, he always looks nervous.
I understand Portuguese, and they soften his words in the they do UFC countdown.
Yeah.
Like you can watch it on YouTube. You don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
That one. They're not translating exactly what he's saying.
Really?
And if you listen to the way he used to speak versus now, there was a confidence there before. It's not there now. They're like creating his confidence via translator.
Yeah.
Like he's not saying exactly. And someone, hopefully in the comment section that speaks Portuguese, can do this for me and actually tell me where it's wrong. But because I can't think of an example right off the top of my head, but they're like, in other words, he might say like, it should be a good fight, and last time he did get the best of me, but this time things will be different. That's what he's saying in Portuguese. And in English, what they're writing is, he got lucky last time. This time we'll see who the king of the, like, they're changing it to make him a little more confident than he really is. I just think he's a broken dude at that level anyway. I mean, he's still going to, whatever local organization at 145 and decimate everyone, but not a guy like Holloway. What are you going to do? You got to submit him.
How does
that
Holloway
guy doesn't feel pain, clearly.
What you have to consider as well is his last fight was Max Holloway, and his last fight he got dismantled by Max Holloway. This is his first fight since probably the biggest beating of his career. The one against McGregor, he got finished. It was an amazing finish, but he got dismantled by Max Holloway. He got beat up. That's something that changes your career permanently.
And as well, with the greatest
beating
respect,
on the ground after getting clipped.
Yeah. Oh man, you got
greatest respect to Ricardo Lamas.
took a beat.
A very different fighter. Jose was preparing for than Ricardo Lamas.
Yeah.
So that, to go from Ricardo Lamas to Max Holloway.
But to be fair on that one, he is very experienced. He has prepared for Max Holloway before, so I don't think that's a problem for me. But I just think coming off that loss to Max Holloway, taking a beating. I think it's a very, very
Holloway
tough.
is just he uses
And his
his range too much,
Yeah.
and he just
And his confidence too. His confidence going
No,
into
he's a wild man. I love it.
He is.
I don't know what to
I-
expect
no.
from him.
No.
You don't
remember
know.
with Jeremy Stevens, when they pointed at the thing, and let's fucking
Yeah,
do
it's
it,
crazy.
motherfucker.
He's crazy.
No, was it Jeremy Stevens? I thought it was. Wasn't it? What's his name? Who used to have the bad mullet? Lamas?
Was
Wasn't it Lamas?
Yeah, it was Lamas.
Was
Yeah.
it Lamas they
Yeah.
started with pointing?
They pointed at the mat and they just
let's go.
finished literally street fight scrapping in the center. It's amazing.
One thing as well I want to bring up is the size, because Max Holloway, he's not the big, like he's long, but he's not the biggest, but he's getting physically stronger. And Jose Aldo, the more and more you see him, he's looking weaker and less physically impressive. And I think that's just a thing that happens in MMA and combat sports, where guys like get bigger just as generations move on. Guys get bigger and more impressive.
The big thing I think as well with Jose is the mystique is gone.
Yeah, that is true.
The mystique of Jose, because I remember when
Max Holloway is building a mystique now at this point.
when the new people, when like the new fans of MMA who came on board with Conor McGregor, when Jose Aldo was matched against Conor, and they're he'll fucking batter him, and all that, you're going, mate, have you ever actually watched Jose Aldo?
I know,
this is the hardest fight he's ever. And you were, and they're you're cheering for Aldo, are you? And you're going, no, I'm not. You need to understand how amazingly good Jose Aldo is as a fighter. Yeah. And then he knocks out 13 seconds and you're going, I told you.
Yeah, shut up.
I was that guy. Not before that fight, per se. But, when Conor first came to the UFC and everyone's like, wait, Jose's, it's like easy. Yeah. He beat Seaver. Easy. Yeah. But... it is what it is. Conor obviously was much. He couldn't have known watching his fight with Brimage or whatever. You know what I mean? But the point is, the Aldo that I remember, USADA, that guy, was really
Brendan, that sneeze
really good.
Sounded suspiciously like you said pre-USADA.
Is that what I said?
It sounded like that. It was weird.
I forget.
Just the way you went achoo, it was weird.
I don't know. Sometimes it's I said that
the
or
acoustics.
running,
it's the acoustics in your room, I think.
What's up?
It's the acoustics in your room. It just it echoes USADA or something. I don't know.
Running to take a pee-pee. That.
But sorry, I interrupted you. Yeah, pre-USADA. Jose.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So there was some guy. Yeah, I'm not sure what that means, but yes. Yeah. Back in the day, Jose was kind of a different dude, man.
Yeah.
And that goes back to kind of what I was saying. All right, for instance, when he broke what's his name's arm with that left switch kick, and then he shot in for a double leg. Do you remember that fight? The guy broke his arm.
Was that a
Korean guy?
Korean zombie? Chanson Jung.
Yes. Okay. Shoots in for a double leg at the speed of light, takes him down. He transitions at lightning speed. You think of his fight with Lamas. Think of his fight with who is that really good kickboxer? Really hair like mine, no hair. Good kickboxer. Mark.
Hominick.
What'd you say?
Mark Hominick, the Canadian.
Yes. Thank you. You look at those kind of fights. First fight with Mendez, even second fight. In some regards, right? We're talking about a different guy, man. Yeah. That guy, I haven't seen that guy in a long time.
Chad
Even
Mendes.
with Frankie, I don't know. It feels like just a horrific matchup for Frankie for some reason. Because Frankie looks great against everyone else. Yeah. Very weird.
Yeah. Frankie Edgar is Jose Aldo's BJ Penta. Frankie. Remember Frankie? Just lit him up.
Well, before. Now everyone's that to BJ.
Everybody loves a BJ.
Just made me get depressed there.
No, I said everybody loves BJ.
Right.
So who are you picking?
I'm picking Max Holloway, and I'm going to go a finish in the second. Knockout, TKO type B job.
Mr. D.
Stop saying what I'm going to say.
You're going to say a TKO type B job?
I'll change up. I'll say Holloway in the third via finish, strikes, TKO. Third round, mid-third.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be. I think I'm going to make a prediction too on how. I think he's going to lay some groundwork out and draw Jose into his game, and I think he's better at his game than Jose is, and he'll clip him that way. Won't be another 1-2 or anything. Maybe an elbow that'll hurt him, and then he'll just do what he did last time and just pile on. That guy's doesn't get tired, doesn't get hurt, just like a matter of time. And I don't see it going 5. Although whenever I do that, I curse the fight. So. Forget I said that. Third round, middle third, TKO, Holloway.
I see him absolutely dismantling like picking them apart.
Really?
To the extent where one at the end of the rounds, Jose won't want to get back up off his stool.
Jeez.
I honestly see this being the
grim.
fight that Jose Aldo goes, this is it. Like, if this guy is top of the perch here, I can't get there again.
Realistically, if he does lose to Holloway in this one and gets beat up again, that could be his last fight.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just think...
Where do you go from there?
It's
Should be.
Not too many fighters get to walk away going, sure, wasn't he great? Because, they all tend to end on a bit of a slide. But I just think Max Holloway's just got his number. The way Jose has Frankie's number, I just think he has his number, and I just think he's going to dismantle him, and it's going to
not just
it's
that.
going to be
I just think Holloway's better too.
I just think he's going to pick him apart, landing shots from all angles, and use his range, and I think he's going to bully him.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what he looks like though, Max Holloway. Like every time he looks better, so I really can't wait to see what he does.
I almost sound like I'm disappointed by that. I'm not. I love Max Holloway. I'm not the biggest fan of Jose Aldo because he's a bit of a dick. But I
like Jose Aldo.
But great fighter. He was a great fighter. But I'm a bigger Max Holloway fan, so I'm going to go with Max Holloway, and I think he's going to absolutely dismantle him. And I think if Max Holloway wanted, I think he could get in there. Max Holloway, I think if he wanted, he could get in there and finish him in the first round. But I honestly think he's just going to be not cautious, but
I'm not giving Jose Aldo any chance. He's going to win.
He's aggressive. He's going to be aggressive.
I never do that.
I know.
He's going to be aggressively controlled, and he's going to pick and he's going to pick his moment to put him away.
Crazy Hawaiian.
Yeah, under the radar, Rob. Let's throw a fight. Any other fight that stands out on the card to you? To me, I can't stay away from former guest of the show and teammate of Max Holloway. Alex Oliveira, the cowboy, is taking on Yancy Medeiros. This for me is an under the radar fight. Yancy coming out of that camp as well with Max Holloway. You can only imagine what goes on in that camp. But great finish. His last fight was over Eric Silva fighting another Brazilian. And I just think, I think this stands out, and I think it's a good fight for Yancy to really make a statement as well, because Oliveira has had some big notable wins as well.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that one?
Yeah. I think Cowboy, olive skin Cowboy, is very he's a tough kind of gritty dude. He's not the flashiest, smoothest cat. Yancy's a very smart fighter.
Yeah,
watch him fight. He's very cerebral.
Yeah.
So they're kind of different ends of the spectrum as far as athletic gifts versus cerebral ways. Interesting fight. Yeah, I like that.
I like as well that they both kind of found their home at welterweight. They've been kind of up and down and all over the place, and I like both of them at welterweight. My one is the main event of the prelims: Paul Felder against the other Oliveira, Charles Oliveira.
Stop it, Rob. Jesus
Christ. Is that yours? Of course it was. We'll let you talk about that one then. Go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead.
I like the fight. That's what I'm going to say. I like the fight. Yeah, no. Paul Felder, big fan, great striker, very exciting striker.
Savage.
Yeah, savage. Good commentator
looked
too.
Excellent against Stevie Ray as well.
Yeah, good commentator too.
Oh, and I like Stevie Ray.
Charles Oliveira, he's a bit up and down. You're not really sure what you're going to get with him in each fight. But when he's on, especially on the ground, he's very, very impressive, very exciting.
What is his last fight against Will Brooks where he climbed up the back from? Was that where he got?
I think so, yeah. But you can also say the same about Paul Felder. Sometimes he just doesn't show up, or he does show up, or he's the type of guy where he really needs to get into the type of fight he wants to be in, or a lot of times the fight just kind of runs away from him. If he doesn't take over in the first round, a lot of the times he'll lose. Although he did come back.
Oliveira struggled to make the weight a few times.
Yeah, that is a big one.
So I'll be interested to see how the cook goes.
Yeah.
So I'll give you guys a little inside, not out of school talk, but inside scoopish. Felder kind of came up through Daniel Gracie, if you know that, now you do. If you didn't know that, now you do. Out of Philly, and I know Daniel pretty well. I know Paul pretty well. Obviously, I know Henzo well. All through Henzo, right? And when he was first breaking in, they used to ask him, because he was always a striker. I think he's got a taekwondo background and then some kickboxing. And they said, what do you take away most from Daniel? What do you take away? And he gave a hat tip, of course. And he said, because I don't know if he's even still working with him, to be honest. I haven't seen him post kind of together lately. I'm sure they are, but I know he's working with Duke too, which has helped him clearly his elbow strikes. Jesus Christ. What I was going to say is he always was speaking of, obviously, Daniel's experience, like all the kind of semi-cliche things to say, like, he's great because he was great, you know. But he was saying about his jiu-jitsu specifically. He's like, him teaching me how to get back to my feet to fight. So who knows what's changed? That was a couple years ago. But you're talking about a jiu-jitsu, like a submission wizard. Let's say that. A submission guy, like a submission hunter versus a striker.
Yeah.
Pretty much, right? So it's going to be, that one's a very, where's the fight? You know, where's it going to be?
I just think Paul Feller's tougher.
You know?
I just think he's tougher.
I do think that as well.
I think Oliveira has a quit in him.
You think he's what, bud? He's
tougher. He's tougher, like harder.
He's tough.
Yeah, for sure.
Guy.
Yeah,
I think Oliveira just has a bit of quit in him. You know, when things aren't going his way.
I do like about Oliveira,
though. Quitting guy. Yeah. No.
What I do like about Oliveira, though, is he will drag people to the floor. If he wants to get to the floor, he will jump on them. He'll drag them. He'll pull guard. He'll do anything. And if he does if he does get Feller into a situation, even if he's on his back, you know, it could be trouble. So it's an interesting one. I like it.
If you if you disagree with any of the fight, well, not disagree. If you think we've missed one from under the radar, give your shout out there. Give your predictions underneath.
Thoughts.
UFC 218. It's an absolute cracker. I have a feeling there'll be a lot of talking points about this for next week's show.
I think so too.
And let's recap that all here on Obviously Fight Time.
I'm down.
Excellent.
All right, see everyone next week. Same bad channel, same bad time.
Oh, yeah. And go and check out Brendan's channel. And hit subscribe if you're not on it yet. Brendan Dorman on YouTube. Hit him up on Twitter as well. He always he loves when you talk to him. He'll give you a stick there too. But Brendan, it's an absolute pleasure. You're looking great. And we'll catch up in no time.
Much love, guys.
Take care.
Later.
Cheers.
All right.
We're not saying he's the best, obviously. You know what I mean?
Obviously.
There you are. What a packed show, Rob.
Yes,
what an absolute packed show. Thanks to everybody coming on. Will Fleury, Daniel Movahedi, Brendan Dorman. But Rob, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm going to do what you were doing.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's weird.
It gets you.
You can't hold it there. See, I'm...
You're inexperienced in the picking up of a microphone. So it feels comfortable. This has been obviously Fight Talk 91. A shout out to... I feel
like I'm doing karaoke here.
Fight Star Media or Ireland. Fight Star Ireland, not Media. Well, go to Fight Star Media and check out all the fights. You can listen to me commentating on Clan Wars 30.
Give them a little taste of that thing you done about the young lion or the cub.
What did I say? Oh, yeah. It was... you put me on the spot now.
Did you forget it?
No. Yeah, so I was commentating on Clan Wars 30. McBlain against Jennings, and McBlain's nickname is Cub and Jennings is Lion. So I went... Clan Wars 30 here in the beautiful sold-out Crown Plaza Hotel, Belfast. We've got the Cub against the Lion. A Wimbawa in the jungle. Beautiful. And that is my commentary voice. I don't know where it comes from, but this is Noel O'Keefe in commentary, and I am joined by Robert Palin. This is Clan Wars 30, and we are underway. Corn nuts! I don't know where it comes from.
Goldberg.
That was weird because you do, like, I obviously have my MC voice when I announce shows. I say very different. I will go, ladies and gentlemen, the stage is set, the bright lights are on. So very different voices. And then I come on here and I talk like I'm selling heroin on street corners.
Yeah. That's the natural voice.
The natural. All right, yeah. Welcome along.
That's actually his real voice. He just
I put on the other voice. So, it's gone a little off here, Rob.
Yeah.
Fight Star Ireland, the fighter choice. Go and check them out for everything you need under two roofs. And congrats finishing Steph. You probably haven't listened. Steph
back in
won.
The,
He back his
in the ring.
His K1 debut, pro K1 debut. Steph gets the win by majority decision. So congratulations, Steph. Go check them out. They sell the best of gear as well, from shin pads, groin guards, the best of gloves. They look after world champions. They can look after you. MMAmix.com. They're obviously good. They're with obviously Fight Talk. Go check them out as well. They do things a little different over there, and we like it. And then, of course, to feelsupreme.co.uk. Go check them out if you want 10% off the produce that you see on site. The CBD oil, all the recovery aids they have. Go use the code FIGHTTALK at the end. You get 10% off. This has been 91. I've been Noel O'Keefe. He's been Robert Palin. Work by day. Obviously, Fight Talk podcast by night.
All day.
Boom.